I started on the bench. The first weekend, the shortstop played terrible. And it's like the fourth inning, shortstop makes a couple errors. He pulls the shortstop and throws me in there. And from that moment, like, I just took off and I never gave the job back. When I finally did get called up, Ned Yost, they asked him, like, when you've been around Hunter in spring training, what did he do well? And he basically said, he goes, nothing. I have probably the 2 best weeks of my life. I'm hitting like 400s. I had like 8 homers. I was going off. So I'm like, finally, I figured double A out.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He's got it. 1-0.
Welcome back. Another episode of To the Majors. Today we have a very special guest, 2013 8th overall pick, longtime Kansas City Royal, and Stephen F. Austin royalty. Hey, do you know Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No.
You don't?
I don't.
He's another SFA guy.
Is he?
I think so.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is. That's what the internet told us.
Yeah, we also talked that it's not always correct, but in our research, it says Stone Cold Steve Austin is an alum. So we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or prove us wrong.
Yeah. I would love to. Hey, you gotta play that off, dude.
Yeah.
Stone Cold. That'd be awesome.
Be sick.
All right. Kevin and I have talked about this. I want to go to a moment in your career. Just get it out of the way. 2018, you're playing Cleveland. You hit a walk-off bomb off of me. And we're friends.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. You're coming out. That sucked. It was awesome. It was terrible for me. How was that for you? Because was that your first walk-off homer of your career?
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, like that, because I got called up in 2016 in September, and then I was hurt all of 2017. And then go to AAA to start 2018, and then like 2 weeks into the season get called up. And I'm not playing every day, still trying to like establish myself.
Yeah.
And I would say that moment was kind of like, it was a huge stepping stone for me. I mean, that kind of propelled me into finishing the year extremely well and then going to have my best year in 2019. It kind of like showed me, okay, I can play here.
Yeah.
And something kind of clicked like a couple games before that. And then that home run just kind of gave me that confidence. But
dude, I remember, first off, Ryan O'Hearn hit a bomb off me right before that. Another really good player.
Yeah.
But like a bat against you, because I remember facing you earlier in the season and I beat you up top with a couple 4-seam fastballs. Yeah. And I was like, I know I got this in my pocket, right? Like Roberto Perez back there, we're on the same page. It's like, hey, fastball up. Dude, first pitch. And it was like,
first pitch.
Was it first pitch? It was early in the bat. We didn't. It did not take long.
Yeah.
But it was like, I know I've got him right here. If I just throw and I did, put it at the top of the zone and he just puts it. I mean, you go right center too.
Yeah.
At Kauffman, which is
graveyard
deep.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Oh, they moved it. That's right. They changed it up.
Yeah.
Of course they did. They wait till we're all done and they start moving things around.
Did you, you guys were friends at the time, right? You guys had trained in the off season together.
Yeah, we worked out together.
It happened to me later in my career, as I played on a lot of different teams. Did you find it hard facing someone that you knew on the mound where that was a friend of yours?
At the moment, at the time, I didn't think too much about it. I was just so concerned and so worried about like proving myself to be in the big leagues. Later in my career, when I would face buddies, I would always like give them head nod and stuff. No, I think it's fun. It's always fun. Like even as you're a younger kid, it's always fun competing against your buddies. So, and then you always have the text message after the game and stuff. But
yeah. I'm pretty sure. I think we ran into each other the next day at like baseball chapel.
Yeah.
And I like walked in and I was like, so we're just not going to talk about this, or and like I think like Whit Merrifield was sitting there and he was like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
What you talked about some kind of changes leading up to that. Like, well, what were some of the changes you felt like you had to make that led you to kind of have this moment, and then obviously that moment allowed you to have some confidence, and you kind of ran with it after that?
Yeah, I mean, I was early on in 2018. I felt like I was just missing pitches. Like I was just there, But just a lot of like deep flyouts, a lot of high flyouts and stuff. So I just really worked hard with kind of getting back to my college swing. Kind of like I'm a guy, I can't think about lifting the ball. I always had to think kind of hard low line drive to second base. That's how I've been my whole life. I tried to go through a phase in the minor leagues where I tried to lift it because I thought I needed to hit more home runs since I moved from short to third. But it just never worked for me. So I really got kind of disciplined and trying, hey, this is the swing. This is my swing thought. This is what's going to work. And kind of just got my swing more level. And then the timing clicked. And then I think the biggest thing was confidence. Once I started seeing some results, because in BP and the cage, it was there, but I wasn't seeing the results consistently on the field. And I think that home run was, it was a big moment for me because it was like, okay, this swing works. Like this swing thought works. And I kind of just rode that and finished really strong in 2018 and then had my year in 2019.
Dude, all right. So let's go back a little bit, so that's obviously like, that's kind of like, that's your kind of like, I don't want to say like welcome to the big leagues moment, but that was a big moment for you. And then you had a couple great years after that. But you're born in Wichita Falls, grew up in Denton. Where'd you go to high school here?
Denton High.
You went to Ryan or Geyer?
No, the original Denton
The
High.
Original Denton
Yep.
High? I didn't know there was an original.
There was just
Denton
one
High.
school at the
Yep.
time.
Well, no, when I was coming up, there was three. Denton, Denton Ryan, and Denton Geyer.
Okay.
Denton Geyer just opened like when I was in 7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
And they allowed free transfers. So everybody that was supposed to go Denton High fled to Geyer. And my brother went to Denton. My mom and dad went to Denton High. And I was zoned to go to Denton High, even though I lived close to Geyer. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go to Geyer. My whole family went to Denton High. And,
Yeah.
it was.
Oh, well, I didn't
kinda
realize
tough.
that. We had Austin Jackson on, and he,
Oh, yeah.
he was a Ryan guy. And,
Yeah.
I always thought it was just Ryan and Geyer.
So I remember vividly going to Austin Jackson's basketball games and baseball because my brother is same age as Austin, and my brother went to Denton High, so always played against Austin Jackson. But like that guy was an animal. Watching him play basketball and then go watching him play baseball, it was like the coolest thing as a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how old are you at the time when you're seeing this?
I was in middle school. Or like early middle school. Yeah.
So were you also a multi-sport athlete, and then watching someone like Austin have the success he had, did it want you to continue playing multiple sports because you saw just how kind of the multi-sport athlete probably helped him be the best athlete in anything he was doing?
Oh yeah, I grew up playing all the sports: baseball, basketball, football, ice hockey. I was a big ice hockey player growing up.
Really?
Yeah, that was probably by far my favorite sport. And then I got on a travel hockey team, and we were traveling around. We went up to Vancouver for tournaments, and it kind of became a huge thing. And I was 12 years old. My parents basically pulled me aside and was like, we either need to make a decision. Either you put all your eggs into hockey, and focus just on hockey, or you can continue playing all the other sports. And I was just about to go into 7th grade. I was excited about starting middle school football, middle school basketball. And I was like, well, I'm not going to give up playing these 3 other sports and only focus on hockey, even though if hockey was my first love. So I just made a decision. Okay, I'm going to go to middle school and play these sports.
That's a really hard decision for a young kid to make.
It is, but travel hockey is so expensive, and it's year round. I know nowadays all sports are year round, unfortunately, but back then, like hockey was still year round, traveling a lot. Like getting rink time was really expensive.
Yeah. There's no pond hockey down here.
I know.
My wife's from Minnesota, and they just, they like, hey, there's, access to ice is readily available out there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're not a big fan of people playing baseball year round. Either are we. I don't know much about the hockey scene, but from everyone that I've talked to, it does feel like it is the one sport where it feels like there is a commitment needed pretty early on in life.
Yeah, for sure.
We had Carp was a hockey player too. And from the stuff he was telling us, it feels like out of all the sports, if you need to commit to one early, it does feel like hockey. I don't know much about it, why that is, but hockey just seems like that sport you have to commit to early.
I think those kids up north, like you said, that's what they do all the time. And it's like us going to, hitting the batting cage down here or throw
playing
football
wiffle ball. Or,
exactly. They go up there and they find a frozen pond and skate. And my son, who's 8, he got into ice hockey this year.
Nice.
Absolutely loves it. It's his favorite sport. And he's getting to the point where he might have an opportunity to play on the travel team.
Okay.
And I'm like very kind of hesitant about it because it's like I know how much commitment that is, and I want him to continue to play baseball, flag football, basketball, everything else he loves, but he's like he really wants to do it. He has to make the team first, but so we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I mean he's 8.
Do you feel like it's unfair that parents kind of have to make that decision for their kid because of kind of the climate we live in where you're forced to have to potentially make a decision like that in order for your son to feel like maybe he has a chance to play hockey at the next level, or forget the next level. Let's just even say college.
Yeah.
He has to make a decision at 8 years old, or you have to make that decision at 8 years old for him.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I mean, we all grew up where we played every season was a different sport.
Mm.
Like when it wasn't baseball season, I didn't even think about playing baseball. I was playing basketball or playing football or whatever it was. Now it's like, and it's not just hockey, it's like baseball. Like I coached my son's baseball team, and like some of those kids you see that are very good, like at this age, they play year round. Well, of course they're going to be very good. That's all they focus on. But it's like, it doesn't mean it's the right decision because they might burn out here in the next 5 years. Like you never know. And I know some of the best kids that we've seen growing up, like they didn't pan out and stuff, but it's like, I think it's such a big advantage for kids playing multi-sports, like as long as they can, because you're going to build a more well-rounded athlete.
Yeah.
And you see that with all the guys, like if you all the guys in the big leagues, I mean, like all of us, like we played multiple sports for a long time.
Yeah. How do you feel like you can get that message across to the parents on your kids' teams? Because it feels like if you are not the best 8-year-old right now, that the parents kind of like freak out, like, oh, he's never going to make it. When you're living proof, you probably were one of the best 8-year-olds on your team because you were a great athlete, but you didn't put all your eggs in one basket at 8 years old. And it feels like now, and we live it with not so much with our younger team, but his older kids, those parents are like, okay, if my kid's not the best one on the field, they have no shot of making it.
Yeah. Well, then they see another kid who plays year-round baseball or whatever it is, and they're the best. And it's like, well, my kid needs to do that. Like maybe if my kid plays year-round, they'll be as good as him. And it's like, maybe, but do you want your son to be the best 8-year-old, or do you want your son to love this sport, continue working hard at the sport, and then later on, like, be better than like the better high school kid?
Yeah.
I think it's tough. I mean, I get that question asked a lot from parents and stuff. It's like, would you have your kids play multiple sports? Like, when is Bodie going to focus on, like my oldest, only on one sport? I'm like, I'm going to let him play as many sports as I can, as long as he wants to. If he comes to me in 5 years, like, hey, I only want to play baseball. Okay, that's his decision. But like, I'm going to give him the opportunity to play because I personally think like it's the best thing for him. And at the end of the day, sports are fun. Like he loves the sports, but he loves being out there with his friends too.
Yeah. And
like
that's that. I mean, I feel like that's key right there, because you're developing relationships. You're doing more than just developing a baseball player, a football player, a basketball player. Like the sport is merely just a vehicle that you're using to develop the person. That's all it really is.
You're only a kid once. And like, when I think about my childhood, like, I played a lot of sports, but the memories I remember is like, it's not the baseball tournament I went to. It's the hotel, running around with my kid, like running around with my buddies on the team, or playing wiffle ball in a open parking lot. Like, that's what I remember. I don't remember the scores of the game. So it's like, I think parents lose focus on that because 99.9% of these kids.
It's hard. It's everywhere. It's in your face.
Yeah.
I think about it too, because rings are very popular, especially here in Texas. My nephews have rings and rings and rings. And growing up, trophies were a big thing. You know where my trophies are? I have no idea.
I don't know. I think my parents donated
actually,
them.
honestly, I know where they are. The first house I bought in California, I stored them in the attic. And when I moved, I forgot about them and I left them there, and I don't have them. So it just kind of speaks to kind of the importance of them later on in life. In the moment, they feel so important.
Yeah.
But like you said, my memories are hanging out with my buddies And yeah, I have some memories of playing with them like in organized sports, but I think about going to the lake and playing tackle football on the beach at the sandbar, or after my baseball game playing buns up on the bathroom stalls. You know?
Who got you into baseball? Like, when did baseball become kind of like, you probably played it since really early on. Yeah. But obviously hockey was a big sport for you. You played multiple sports. When did baseball kind of become this thing where it's like, you know what, I might have an opportunity to play past high school? Like, when did that kind of click for you?
I would say in high school, but it wasn't till late because I was always one of the better kids on the team, but I was never the best.
Okay.
And I didn't make varsity my freshman year, and even going to Denton High, which we didn't have a ton of talent. I made it my sophomore year, but I never really had like a great high school season. I would say I didn't really have that moment until I went to SFA, where it's like I could do this and I could possibly get drafted.
Nice.
I always wanted to play college football or college baseball. And it worked out going to Stephen F. Austin, but I mean, Stephen F. Austin was my only option.
I was going to ask you, like, what was your, because you're very athletic, like you're a bigger guy. So a lot of these, great college programs, like they're recruiting the athlete, right? Like they're like, hey, like this guy projects to be this or whatever. So I was going to ask you, what was your college recruiting process like?
Well, I was a late grower, so I graduated high school at 6'2", 180, which is a bigger kid, but like when I got drafted, I was 6'4", 225.
Yeah, that's
so I grew a lot in college.
I was gonna say 6'2", 180 is bigger than I've ever been in my whole life.
well, where I ended up,
that's a pretty big high school kid.
But I just like physically, like I wasn't the fastest kid at the time. Like I grew into my speed later. I just felt like I was a late bloomer with pretty much everything. And I was a quarterback for the high school team. So like in Texas, football is number one priority. Like even for spring football, like that took precedence over baseball, which was that spring is actual baseball season. So it was like I was missing baseball stuff just for spring football stuff, which wasn't even the football season.
What's the quarterback's name
games?
Not games, but practices. And anything that we had to do with spring football, like that was number one priority.
What was the quarterback's name in Varsity Blues?
Oh,
Lance.
Yeah.
I remember.
Was he your favorite player growing up?
I did like him. I mean, who doesn't?
So you high school quarterback. Did you play any other sports in high school too?
No. So in high school, I
two sports.
Focus on those two.
So Stephen F. is your only
option.
Option.
And
you weren't drafted.
I wasn't drafted. I had a really bad injury in football my junior year. The last game of the season, it was a stupid trick play. I called my receiver in motion, handed it off, and I ran out back, and he threw it to me. And we were actually playing Little Elm, and it didn't work. And I got tackled, and I shattered my collarbone. So I missed all of my junior year of baseball. So going into my senior year, I had 0 offers. I mean, I wasn't having any. No one was talking to me even before my junior year anyway. But we played over the summer on my select team. We went to Stephen F. Austin. They had a college or a little tournament there, and I ended up having a really good tournament. And the coach was watching, Johnny Cardenas, and he pulled me aside after the tournament. He was like, "Hey, I would love to get you out here for an official visit." And this is the first time and the only time a college talked to me. And I was like, of course, I would love that. Yeah. And I was so excited, went for official visit and basically signed right away because that was my only option. I mean, there was no JUCOs, there was no D2, there was nothing. SFA was the only one. Of course, right after I signed, I got a couple of JUCO calls after that. But I think if I didn't have a good tournament at SFA, I don't know if I ever would have. I don't know what would have happened.
Dude, you hit. It's just wild to me because like you have like over 2,000 at bats in the big leagues. You have almost 100 homers. Like you were the 8th overall pick, and you were a guy that like if you didn't just happen to be at the right place at the right time, you're probably
I don't know what
maybe playing in a men's hockey league somewhere.
Was football ever on the radar to play after high school?
My goal was always play both in college.
Did you have any offers to play football anywhere?
I had opportunities to like play smaller schools, some D2s, and like even SFA mentioned, hey, if you want to walk onto the football team. But after this injury, I think I decided then. I still played my senior year football and stuff, but I think, I don't know, just kind of a moment where it's like, okay, I think I'm going to play baseball, and this is where I'm going to try to go to college playing baseball. Like I'll finish out playing my senior year of football, but like baseball is what I want to do.
That's like a really like cool story for people to hear, that right place, right time, one opportunity. You didn't know it was going to be your only opportunity, but you just showed up, you performed, and look what it led to.
Yeah, it worked out. I mean, I just think about it like God has a plan for everybody, and just like that's the way it was supposed to work out. Everyone has their own path.
That's awesome. So, all right, so you go to SFA, and at what point at SFA are you starting to think like, you know what, like I've got a shot at, getting drafted? Was it experience in college summer ball? Was it, what was your experience like there, and how did that lead to your development into a 8th overall pick?
Yeah. When I went to SFA, they gave me a little scholarship. It wasn't a big scholarship. So I knew like I was going to have to go in and really earn my spot, because I didn't want to get redshirted. And they said that there would be opportunities for me to play like when I signed. But I went into the fall and I sucked. I played terrible, and I don't know what it was. I was tripling over myself. I don't know if I was growing. I don't know what it was, but like I couldn't hit, I couldn't field, I couldn't throw. I'm sure the SFA coach was like, what did we get ourselves into? Or he pulled me, like we were about to go to Christmas break, and he's like, hey, we're going to redshirt you. Which I was disappointed, but also was kind of now relieved, because I'm like, okay, I am nowhere close to being able to play D1 baseball. I was like, well, maybe this year will give me some chance to grow and kind of grow into my body and kind of figure some things out. So going to Christmas break, tell my parents, hey, I'm redshirting, whatever. Worked really hard over Christmas break, because it kind of lit a fire. Like, okay, I have this whole year to really work. And hopefully next year I'll be ready. And come back from Christmas break, I actually start playing a lot better. Still saying I'm going to get redshirted. Well, right before they have to make the roster, one of our infielders failed his like chemistry AP class, like a really smart class. He failed. So they're going to have to redshirt him. And then the coach comes to me and was like, hey, we're not going to redshirt anymore. You're going to start on the bench. This is the situation. And I'm thinking at the time, because I was kind of excited to redshirt, because it was going to give me time. So I was a little disappointed, because I was like, well, I don't want to burn a year sitting on the bench. Like, clearly I'm not ready. But I don't know. I kept working hard. I started on the bench. The first weekend, the shortstop played terrible. And then we go to Houston, play U of H on a midweek game Tuesday. And it's like the 4th inning, shortstop makes a couple errors. He pulls the shortstop and throws me in there. And from that moment, like, I just took off and I never gave the job back. And
that's sick.
Yeah. And I think at the end of my freshman year, I think I had a couple teams like starting to walk around, like, scouts, like, okay, who is this kid?
Yeah.
So I would say at the end of my freshman year was the first time that I ever had anybody from the big or the major league organization even bring my name up.
Do you think there was something mentally that happened to you when you stopped putting focus on performance and you started putting, your energy into just work?
For sure. Yeah. All the pressure went off, because I knew, okay, I'm not playing this year. I'm just going to continue to work hard. So I kind of took that mentality throughout the whole of my freshman season. I carried it through my whole career. Like I always felt like I was the hardest worker out there, and I felt like I always had to be, because physically I grew into my body what I am now, but like I felt like talent wise, I always had to work hard to earn everything that I got. And sometimes that I worked too hard, where it might have hurt me later in my career, but it also is the reason why I got to where I did. So yeah, I just carried that, and I tried to take the pressure off and just tried to take it one day at a time and just like continue to work hard. I mean, I remember like at this point, like I wanted to play at the next level. It's like, okay, I'm playing D1 baseball, and now what's next? So like it would be like a Friday afternoon in the fall or Friday night in the fall. Everybody's going out. And I had my little old red pickup truck. I had bucket balls and a tee in the back. And SFA, I'm sure you guys haven't been there, but the baseball field is surrounded by, it's in a little league park off campus. And we have a little outdoor cage. Like it's not a great setup. And so I would drive about 15 minutes off campus to go to the field. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I would hop the fence with my bag of balls and tees, like go into the cage. I would hit for like 2 hours just off the tee. Like that's just like, that's what I wanted to do. So I was going to work as hard as I could to try to get to the point where I could possibly get drafted.
That's wild. Because I read a quote. God, I can't remember if it was Rusty. It's one of your coaches in Kansas City in 2019. And they talked about how like you worked so incredibly hard to make third base your home. Like they were like, we honestly have to kick the guy like off the field because he takes way too many ground balls.
Yeah.
Like third base is his, but it was such a testament from like a big league coach. I can't remember if it was Rusty or maybe it was one of the other coaches on the staff there in Kansas City at the time, but you've got a coach like that, like that was a pretty veteran staff you guys had. That's like, man, like this guy works like nobody I've ever seen. Like we actually have to like, we have to take the balls away from him, right?
Yeah.
Like we're like, hey, like you're overdoing it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think in all of my years experience with baseball, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody actually like overdoing it. So I think that like this is, that, and then, the story you're telling right now. So it seems like this has been ingrained for a long time. Where did that come from? I
mean, I think my dad, he's extremely hard worker. He was a pilot. I mean, he was in the Air Force, and then he just retired, but he was an American Airlines pilot for 35 years. But like, he would work multiple jobs as a kid. He would get home from flying, doing an international trip for like a week long, come home and like go straight outside and start doing yard work. And like, he was just a guy that he was always working, always trying to provide for his family. And I just remember, and also anytime I asked him, I was like, hey, can you throw to me? Hey, you want to play catch? You want to play basketball? Whatever it is. He always stopped what he was doing and come out there and work, like play with me. And I just think like watching him work as hard as he did throughout my whole life, and then him continue to just always teach me like, hey, if you want to get good at something, you have to work at it. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not seeing results on the field or at school, like you probably need to work harder. So it was just kind of ingrained in me. And also I just loved it. Like I loved sports. So it was easy for me to work. It didn't feel like work. It just felt like me playing. Yeah. Like growing up, my dad built a little like makeshift cage. And I remember just like playing scenarios in my head. Like I'm up at the plate, like it's College World Series. Like I know I would do that all day long, and I do that with all sports. So like it didn't seem like work because I loved it so much.
It's the 9th inning. Cody Allen's on the mound.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there.
To walk it
I've
off.
been there. He won.
I was going to ask you too. You mentioned like the love of the sport. Do you think also you growing up playing all the sports, you playing football in high school in addition to baseball, when you finally got an opportunity to just play baseball, do you think that also propelled you to work extremely hard because you had a love for it, where maybe other guys that only played baseball up until that point maybe get a little burned out?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was my first time that I've ever played one sport. So I could put all my energy into baseball. And doing that, like you said, like I loved it. I wasn't burnt out. Like I was excited because this was the first time in my life that I was able to focus just on baseball. And then I could see like how fast I got. I mean, from going from having one offer to 8th overall pick in 3 years, I mean, was kind of crazy, but it was like, that's how much I loved it. Like I worked extremely hard because I played multiple sports growing up. Like I wasn't burnt out at the age of 14, 15.
Did you have a moment in college, whether it was at university or maybe playing collegiate summer league, where kind of you had a moment, like a light bulb went off? Maybe you were competing at someone that, was maybe ranked, or, a starting pitcher, or just being around a certain group of people in summer ball that you were like, I might be a draft guy, a first round pick.
I never thought I was going to be a first round pick. Like I've always struggled, even in my big league career. I always felt like I was never good enough. Like I always felt like everyone's so much better. And maybe that helped me, like, because I had to continue to work. And then also, like, going to SFA, we didn't play the toughest competition. So, like, I think the big thing for me was, what the scouts would tell me too, is like, hey, if we're going to draft you, you need to show us midweek games, like when you play Texas or Texas A&M or LSU. And I think the first moment I had that feeling is we were playing LSU midweek game, and I forgot who was throwing for LSU, but it was another draft guy, and I probably had one of my best games. I didn't hit any homers, but like I think I went 3 for 4, but like 3 lasers right center off the wall. And Kansas City's scouting director, Lonnie Goldberg, was there, and he talked to me after the game, and that was the first time like it kind of set in. This was my junior year, like, because leading up to my junior year, like I knew, okay, I have an opportunity to get drafted. They were saying like, okay, maybe top 20 rounds, like, and then each year kind of went down. But even going in my junior year, it was like top 5, maybe top 6 rounds. But then after that LSU game, which was, I think, middle of the season, maybe towards the end, talking to Lonnie, the Royals scouting director, he was like, we're very interested. And I was like, oh, like I have a shot to actually get drafted, like kind of high. So that was the first time it kind of like went off in my head, because I always thought, okay, well, there's so many kids playing college baseball. There's all these kids at these big time schools. Like I'm just a kid at SFA, like playing well in this conference. So it never like really sunk in until honestly draft day.
Is Rice in that conference or no?
No.
Okay. Did you ever play against Rice?
We did, yeah, for midweeks.
Did you ever overlap with Anthony Rendon?
My freshman year, he was the junior, and it was like...
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, because, I mean, he was, second overall pick?
Something like that, yeah.
Was there a noticeable difference when you saw someone like him?
Watching him take BP, I made sure I was out there early to watch. And what was impressive is, like, in college, everyone's trying to hit bombs, like in BP and stuff, and he was just lasers right center the whole time. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that kind of helped. I'm like, okay, if he's doing that, I need to do that. So I kind of like changed my batting practice and cage routine. Like, I'm just going to try to go line drive second base, which ended up being my approach in the big leagues.
Yeah. Do you feel like you ever had like a guy that you saw in college like that? Like everyone knew who Anthony Rendon was at the time too. Do you have a guy like that in college where you're like, man, this is the best of the best, and I don't look anything like that?
Yeah. There was a guy pitched for Coastal Carolina as a high point. He was a first round pick by the Diamondbacks, I think, that year. His name was Anthony Mayo. And like I had never seen him before. I'd heard of him. And I actually beat him. Like we won that game. But like everything he threw was just like electric. Yeah. Like, I mean, my 4-seam fastball at the time as a starter was like 89, 92. And he was throwing cutters like at 95. 4-seamers at 98. And I was like,
that's different.
Yeah. Why? Like, how's he not the number 1 overall pick? And they're like, oh yeah, he might go in the first round. I was like, what do the guys look like above him?
Yeah. I know, right? Well, even when I played against A&M, Naquin.
Oh yeah.
Like he was the talk of town too. And I'm like watching him throw from the outfield. I'm like, this guy is way better than me.
He was super talented.
Yeah.
Super talented guy.
But you see that it's all the time. You play those big schools. It's like, oh, that's why I'm not playing there. It's like,
did you play college summer ball at all?
I did. So after my freshman year, I played in the TCL, the Texas League.
Yeah.
I played for the Pump Jacks. And then after my
great name.
Yeah, right. And then after my sophomore year, I went to the Northwoods. I tried to go to the Cape. I talked to a couple Cape teams in the fall, and they basically told me no. Their rosters were full, and so then I signed with the Northwoods, and then I started having a good sophomore year in Cape teams.
What team did you play for?
I'm going blank right now. Stingers.
In St. Cloud?
No, it's
Super memorable.
No,
huh?
Weimer.
I mean,
or
I'm gonna
Wilmer.
get blown up
Is it
by
Wilmer?
this. Wilmer.
Wilmer.
And I am sorry for. I just went blank. But
I always tell people the Northwoods League for me was like the moment I knew that I could play at the next level, because I was a D2 guy, so like I had to play the competition I was around, right?
Yeah.
Much like you, but then you get kind of this melting pot of a lot of time it's a tier below the Cape, but you're still getting a lot of teams' best players,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
you're kind of sizing yourself up against, you probably had teammates from a lot of these big schools you were
Yeah.
playing midweek, and you're like, wait, I'm as good as these guys, if not better.
Yeah.
But then what I didn't realize until I got into Pro Bowl was that league is literally what the minor leagues is like.
It is
Long travels,
Yep.
small stadiums,
playing every day.
playing every day. You play a night game, you shower, you hop on the bus, you drive through the night to go to the next city.
Yeah.
You might get a couple hours of sleep. You go out and you play. And I was always thankful once I got into Pro Bowl that I had that experience, because it would have felt really foreign for me going from the school I played at, where we played, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was always thankful I got that opportunity.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think about that too, because you're not going to find another league that gets you ready for minor league baseball.
That's what I've
better
heard.
than that.
Because even the Cape
that
is,
whole
even
time.
though the Cape is the best competition, it's still a little bit more
You're not playing every day,
showcase
right?
baseball.
Yeah.
It's like you like practice all week, and then it's almost like a college
Yeah.
schedule. Then you have like your Friday, Saturday, Sunday games,
Yeah.
like these showcases, right?
Yeah.
The Northwoods League is the minor leagues
Yep.
of
Yeah.
collegiate summer ball.
Yeah, and I think that helped me get off to a good start in the minor leagues, because I've already done it. Like, I knew what it was like to play every day. I knew what it was like to have those long bus rides and stuff like that. So it definitely helped me.
So what is that? Take us to draft day. Who you with? What did you do? What was the expectations? And then ultimately, what is that moment like hearing your name be drafted 8th overall?
Yeah, it was a wild day. We went to my parents' house down the road, and we had all friends and family over. And going into draft day, like, I knew the Royals were high on me. Like, the Rangers were interested. There was probably like 5 teams that were really interested, but it was like they were still saying you could go the first day, but you'll definitely go the second day.
And what was the first day? How many rounds
Just
were
the
in the first
first
round?
round, right?
Yeah,
It was just the
first
first round. Okay.
Yep. So there was a part of me that was really nervous, because I was like, we're having this draft party, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to get drafted in the first round. Like, all my family's here, and like, they're so excited, and it could be tomorrow. But then as like the draft gets going and stuff, like, I have good conversation with my agent and stuff. And at one point, the Royals called like right before the draft starts. And they're like, hey, will you sign this number at pick 34? They had pick number 8 and 34. And it was above slot at pick 34. And I was like, absolutely. Like, I wanted to go with the Royals. Like, when I went there for my pre-draft workout, I loved it. I got to meet Dayton Moore, which is GM at the time, and he was the best, hands down.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with him and fell in love with the organization. So that's really where I wanted to go. So when they said, hey, we'll make you a deal at 34 if you can slide all the way there. So my agent starts calling teams like, hey, we have a deal in place. Don't draft Hunter. He won't sign, which was total BS, because I wasn't going to go back for my senior year. But the draft gets going, and I guess the Royals wanted to draft, I forget who it was, but it was a high school pitcher that they really wanted at pick 8. Maybe like Cole Stewart or something. But he gets picked, I think, at 6 or 7.
Is Cole Stewart the kid who went to Japan? No, Cole
I
Stewart.
think he got picked by the Twins.
Cole Stewart. Yeah, I
Yeah.
played with him in Rochester.
I'm gonna-
He's quarterback, big quarterback prospect.
Yeah, and it
going
might
in.
not be the right guy, but there was a high school kid that got
Yeah.
taken.
Cole Stewart went to the Minnesota Twins.
What pick was that?
It was the 4th pick.
4th pick. Okay, 4th
Okay.
pick. So he got picked, and
Early.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the Royals really wanted him. This is what my agent's telling me. So when he got picked, the Royals called me and was like, hey, we're thinking about taking you at 8, but we're going to sign you for under slot.
Yeah.
Still, the number was great. I was like, yes,
Sure, yeah.
absolutely. Because their plan was, if they can get me at 8, then they would give some of my money to Sean Mania, who then got picked at 34.
So you and Sean were the two first round. Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sean was supposed to be like a top 3 pick, but he had hip surgery. So I think the Royals decided, hey, if we can, and they didn't know where Sean was going to get drafted. Like if he doesn't blow his hip out, he's top 3 pick. And so I think teams were a little shy to draft him, but like I think the Royals probably went to Sean's like, hey, slide to 34. We'll give you that top 10 or top 8 like money, pick money. So I said yes, and my agent's like, okay, I'll call them back. I'll call you back if it's a done deal. And so like pick 8 comes up, my phone's not ringing. And of course I told my family like I could get drafted here. I don't know. I was like, but my agent was supposed to call me back. So we go inside and we're watching the TV, and they, right when they say Hunter, it was just like blew up.
That's awesome.
And I think the best.
So you didn't know. So there was no like.
Yeah, because he said, I will call you back when it's a done deal. And he never called me back. And so I was just like, okay, maybe they, changed or whatever. But yeah, so it was a shock for me when my name got yelled at, got picked at number 8 overall. But it was.
I was looking at some of the names in that 2013 draft. Mark Appel was the first pick, and that was like a no doubt, no brainer, can't miss.
Yeah.
Which ultimately didn't really work out. And then Chris Bryant was the second pick, John Gray third pick, and then Cole Stewart went 4th in that draft.
Yeah, but I think the best part about that draft day for me was just seeing the excitement of my family, like seeing my dad in tears, like seeing everybody in tears. Just like they're all so happy for something that happened to me. It was just kind of like a moment where like I felt like it was an out of body experience. It was like I was just seeing everybody like, I don't know, I just felt so grateful for them. Like all the time that my mom and dad put into me, like taking me to practice, like it was just like it paid off for them in their eyes. Like it was just cool.
I mean, it's a pretty amazing story from a guy who had
one offer,
really 0 offers until you showed up for that. What was it? A high school tournament?
Yeah.
Or a summer ball tournament? At the university you end up going to 8th overall pick in 3 years.
3 years. And it happened quick and it happened fast. And I did not expect it to go.
How much, if you don't mind sharing, how much money did you sign for?
2.2.
That's some cheese.
That's some, it's probably, I don't know if you think about this at the time when you're how old? You're 20 years
21,
old?
21, yeah.
21 years old. Probably more money than your parents ever made in their entire lifetime at that point. Like it's got to be kind of a wild feeling to be given a check for $2.2 million at that age. What'd you end up doing with that money? Did you treat yourself to something?
I bought a truck.
Something? But
I bought a truck that off season. But the funny thing is, so when you sign, you don't get it right away.
Yeah.
So it took like, I don't know.
You get like that August or something like that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like when I went to short season ball, I had to get a loan from my dad. He was like, because I had
nothing.
So he's like, hey, here's $5,000. Just pay me back.
He knew you were good for it.
Exactly. Yeah, but it kind of got me through because I mean, shoot, my first paycheck in short season I was in the Pioneer League.
$4.
No, it was $180 after 2 weeks because they took the
living
hotel.
Living expenses.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So I'm like, and I call my dad. I'm like, I don't know if this 5,000 will. I'm not making anything. But no, I bought a truck and then we rented an apartment in Grapevine, me and my wife, and then we rented a house in Flower Mound next year, and then we ended up buying a house in Lantana our third season.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about that real quick. You met your wife in college, or someone you knew from high school?
High school. We went to high school together.
Did she go to university with you too? Or?
So she's a year older. So she and a volleyball player. So when she graduated, she went to TW, Texas Women's, played volleyball there for 2 years. I went to SFA, and then she transferred to SFA my sophomore year, and she played volleyball at SFA.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. Let's fast forward a little bit because, you get drafted in 13 by the Royals, and this is a team at the time that they're really young. It's a really young team. They've got Salvador Perez, Mike Moustakas, Alex Gordon.
Eric
They've
Hosmer.
got the core there, right, for what becomes their championship team. But they still had Will Myers, I think, at the time.
Yep.
And so they obviously they make that big trade with Tampa for James Shields and Wade Davis. Greg Holland's there.
Oh, yeah.
Huge Greg Holland fan.
He is one of my favorites.
Dude, I mean, that guy was an absolute monster. But so you get drafted and you're starting your minor league career as this big league team is still really, really young. Did you ever feel like you're like, man, I'm blocked?
Honestly, when I got drafted, I wasn't even thinking about the big leagues. I felt so far away from me. Like I don't think I really like started thinking about the big leagues until Double-A.
What year was that? 2015.
It was actually the next year.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But like I got drafted in 13, went to short season, and then played well there. Went to Low A, and then 2014 went to High A, and then got to Double-A.
Yeah.
But even my first year, like the first half year in Double-A, like I struggled. So still the big league seemed really far away. But yeah, I remember like having that team in front of me when I was in, I would say 2016 after the World Series, and I was playing really well. I got stuck in Double-A. I was there from half of 14, all of 15, and like a month in 16.
So you didn't get to AAA until 16.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you struggled in Double-A?
I struggled bad in Double-A.
And then what was where did the struggles come from? Did you feel overmatched? Was it mental? And then ultimately, was there someone, a hitting coach, a coach, a teammate that you came across your second or third go around in Double-A that ultimately something clicked for you?
I think it was a big jump because I had success in short season, Low A, High A, like really quick. So then when I got to Double-A, I wasn't hitting a ton of homers coming up, like in short season.
And what position are you playing at this point? Are you still playing shortstop?
I got drafted as a shortstop, but then shortly, because we had Alberto Mondesi.
Yeah.
Who was a
great player.
Still to this day is probably the most, besides Bobby Witt, like most talented guy I've ever been with.
He was really good.
Yeah. So when I watched him play short, I was like, okay, I'll go to third. But like, and as I thought, like, I always thought third base, big guy, supposed to be hitting homers, driving in 100. And when I got moved to third, I was like a high average guy, like hit a lot of doubles, but I wasn't hitting a lot of homers. So I think after I went to, in 2014, when I finished the year in Double-A, I went into that 2015 off season and I was like, okay, I need to get bigger. I need to get stronger. I need to hit for more power. So, I mean, we were working out together at Velocity, and I remember I put on like 10 pounds of muscle. It was when we were doing those 100 pull-ups.
Oh,
like,
God.
It was John Simon's workouts.
Yeah,
right?
this is when we started working out together. But, dude, I will say, like, that offseason, the group that we had with Noah, yourself, Logan Verrett, Adam Plutko, like, there's a lot of big leaguers in that group.
Collins.
Yeah. But
Is that Zach Collins?
Tyler Collins, center fielder for Detroit. He's infamous flipping off the crowd. Yeah, that's what he's famous for. But dude, that group, you and Noah, like y'all were on a different level, like physically. Like we would be trying to do like front squats or something like that. Yeah. And like y'all, I'm like, who are these guys? Like, and this is when I first moved to Texas.
Yeah.
I'm around all these like Texas kids, right? And I'm like, dude, they just grow
different here.
Grow them different over here.
But yeah, I like I said, like I'm normally like 220, 225, but I went into that spring training in 2015 and I was like 235. And I remember like the moment I walked in the office, like the front office was like, right when I walked into the building, the front office pulled me and it was like, what happened? Like you are like, I lost my flexibility.
Like in a bad way.
In a bad way.
Okay.
I was slower, and I mean, of course, in BP I was launching balls, but then in a game, like I was getting blown up. I created a long swing because I just had this idea in my head: third base needs to hit 30 homers, driving 100.
Were you in big league spring training that year in 2015?
I was, yeah.
What was that your first big league spring training?
I went there in 2014.
In 14.
Oh, wow.
And so in 2015.
Oh no, sorry. 15 was my first.
First
15 is
yeah.
your first big league spring training. Ultimately, that team goes on to win a World Series.
Yeah.
What was that like walking into your first big league spring training? Who were kind of the veteran guys there? And then obviously we kind of touched on some of the young core guys that, the Moustakas, the Eric Hosmers, Alcides Escobar, Alex Gordon.
Yep.
He mentioned some of that back end of the bullpen, which I'm very familiar with, having playing them in the postseason that year. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, I got to know Moose really well, just because I was taking ground balls at third. He was there. He did a great job of just kind of like taking me under his wing. But I would say the guy that I looked up to the most was Alex Gordon. He wasn't very vocal, and I mean, Alex is probably one of the best teammates I've ever played with, and he's not very vocal. He doesn't say anything, but if you watch the way he works and goes about his business, he's like the best leader that you can have. And I'm very I'm not a vocal guy. Like when I played, I was never a raw guy. I just always kind of kept my head down, tried to lead by example. And that's basically what Alex Gordon, I learned from Alex Gordon. And he was always there super early working out, and I was always there early too. So I always kind of just watching from the distance, what is this guy doing? He has 45 gold gloves.
Well, he was another guy too that
he
a lot of people
positions too.
He changed positions because he struggled.
He was a shortstop as well too, or third baseman.
Third baseman.
He got sent down to go learn how to play outfield with Rusty Kuntz.
Yep.
Came back, and then his career took off.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be the guy, because he was top. Was he his second overall pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, he got to the big leagues and really struggled. And the dude, he came back. How many gold gloves did he win?
I think he ended up 7 with the platinum. And
and that's, in that ballpark is, you have to be able to track it down at that ballpark.
But if you watch the way he works day in and day out, it's incredible. So I really that spring training, I sat back and I just watched him. And what does he do? Because whatever he's doing, I need to do.
There was two guys for me when I was in the big leagues that I watched from afar, the way they worked. One being Alex Gordon, the other being Nick Markakis. The way that they prepared in batting practice helped me so much. I watched the way it seemed like every time we played them, and I played Nick a lot more in Baltimore, more than Alex, but every time we played against those guys, they always threw to the bases. They were always throwing to second base, perfect one hops, playing the ball off the wall. They helped me so much in establishing kind of my BP routine as an outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, you watch Gordo play left fielder in batting practice. I mean, and afterwards, he is drenched. It is full go, and that's, why he won 7 gold gloves. I mean, he was so good. Yeah.
He was so beloved too. Used to hear, I remember, I think Dayton Moore had he had a quote in the paper, in the national media after they re-signed Gordo.
Oh,
to that big deal. Cause it was it didn't fit Kansas City's model to lock in that much money into one player.
Yeah.
But he said so. And he was this isn't what we do here, but my mama didn't raise a fool. We're bringing Gordo back.
Yeah.
He was just what this guy means to this organization, we're going to make exceptions for this guy.
Yeah. He was an incredible teammate and guy that I looked up to my whole career. So it was cool to actually get to play with him for 3-4 seasons or whatever it was. But yeah, going to that spring training, it was, I knew I had no chance to make the team, so I wasn't worried about that, but I just wanted to show the coaches, the big league coaches, because they've never been around me. I've never been around them, kind of who I was and what kind of player I was. And unfortunately, I had a terrible spring training because I came in too big for my size. I was slow, wasn't flexible. So I got sent down early just to kind of get my body back, get more flexible, fix the swing, which 2015 ended up being my worst year in all of my.
Could you see the potential of them being World Series champions, just being around them in spring training, or it kind of take you by surprise a little bit?
I knew there was a ton of talent in there and I could see it, but I just didn't know I didn't know that. I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah. And dude, they ran it. Like they ran the table. Like, I mean, we were in that division, and dude, they just brought it.
Well, in 2014, they were kind of they kind of came out of nowhere.
Bumgarner beat them, right? But in 2015,
then 14 is that the year?
14
the year they played in the wild card game. When
against
Salvi
the A's.
The A's were unbelievable that year. Salvi hit that double down the line.
Yeah.
They had that comeback late in the game.
Yeah.
And then they ran into Bum, right?
Yeah, Bumgarner pretty much beat him.
Yeah.
Like he did. And in 2015, that team, just how it was built, but like they just like that Royals team had the identity of like they're coming. I don't care how big your lead is.
Yeah.
Like they scored in bunches. They scored quick. They always had like one big inning.
They just found a way to get it done because you look at those. I remember looking at the stats, like hitters wise. I don't think maybe like they all had like decent years, but it wasn't like their best years.
Yeah. I think like Moose had a really good year in 15.
Yeah, he might have. But I just remember like their pitching was unbelievable. Like their bullpen was.
Their bullpen. And then you also had like, James Shields.
Yeah.
Volquez. You had Yodon Ventura.
So let's talk about him real quick because I think people forget how talented his arm was. Yordano Ventura, rest in peace. Like, sadly passed away in 2017 in that horrible car accident in the Dominican. Dude, I remember Kevin Cash was our bullpen coach in 2014. And he had played, for a long time with Boston and so he got to see some of the art, like he got to play and watch up close some of the legends that we grew up watching, right?
Yeah.
And Yordano, I don't know if he made his debut against us, but it was like his second start maybe. And I remember Tito, Francona, and Kevin Cash talking about like, that guy's Pedro Martinez. They were like, and I just remember being like, wait, like this guy's 2 starts in his big league career. You're telling me, and they were like, that's Pedro Martinez. And dude, he was so talented because he was a tiny guy. But he threw so hard with so much life. And honestly, he stood on the mound like he was 10 feet tall.
I was just about to say that when he took the mound, it was like, I've never seen, which I didn't spend a ton of time around him. So just kind of just watching from afar, like the way he competed was off the charts. And I mean, of course the talent was there, but
he was polished for being a young guy. Like he had good command. It wasn't just stuff. Like he knew how to pitch.
Yeah. But it was like the compete too. Like,
dude, I mean, he wasn't scared of anybody. Remember when he threw up Machado?
Oh yeah.
Machado came out there and got him?
Yeah. I mean, he was a dog on the mound.
Yeah, he was, for lack of better terms, he was an asshole on the mound. I hated like
you hate facing those guys.
And because he was so cocky, but also you just knew it was real. It was confidence. We saw it as cocky, but as you like saw him develop and as you compete against him, he just didn't care who you were, what lineup you had. He knew he was good. And he carried himself in a way that as a competitor, you didn't like facing him because you knew you were getting stuff. It was polished stuff, but he was also kind of an asshole on the mound. Like he would make a scene if he punched you out. He had no problem.
He's the type of guy you face and he gets you out and you're just like, gosh, dang. Like,
you're going back to the dugout and you're like, I don't care what I have to do. I'll sell my soul right now. I'm clipping this dude.
Yeah, exactly. Just shut him up. Yeah.
Because he just embarrassed me. Not just embarrassed me, he embarrassed my entire family.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about something real quick before we get to your call up. You obviously had your struggles. You went back to AA multiple times. Tell us about kind of that call you got when you finally got out of AA and you got to AAA, because that had to be a breath of fresh air. That had to almost feel like a major league debut to you because you kind of got stuck in AA for a long period of time. Did something click for you in that third time around in that period of time before you got called up? Or did they just say, you know what, we need to move this guy? Like, let's give him a new beginning, a new start somewhere different.
No, so going after 2015, I knew I was like, okay, this new philosophy of hitting is not for me. So I basically went in the off season. I worked with a hitting coach locally. And we basically tried to get my swing back to where it was in college and early in minor leagues. And I went into spring training in 2016. I struggled again in big league camp. I know when I finally did get called up, Ned Yost, they asked him, and I still remember this vividly. They asked him what when you've been around Hunter in spring training, what were you surprised? What surprised you? Like, what did he do well? And he basically said, he goes, nothing. He goes, the only thing that I know is
I was going to say he probably didn't even know who you were. Or
Exactly.
Because that's so Ned Yost.
Yeah, he was like, nothing he did really surprised me. Like he didn't have a couple good. He didn't play well in spring.
Yeah.
He was like, but what he did show me is he did have a good year. So, but I'm like, that's true. I mean, I didn't show them anything. But yeah, I think I just got back to who I was as a hitter. Like I stopped worrying about hitting home runs. I got back to kind of my line drive approach. So I start the year in AA in 16, and I have probably the 2 best weeks of my life. I'm hitting like 400. Like it might have been like 3 weeks. I had like 8 homers. I was going off. So I'm like, finally, I figured AA out. So
AA is a big jump though.
It is,
like
yeah.
from high A to AA, because there's nobody getting called up from high A. There's a lot of guys going to the big leagues from AA.
Yeah. They always said like AA, you'll see better stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just not as polished. Where like AAA, you won't have as big of like as good as stuff, but you'll have guys who are more polished. Yeah. Like with their pitches and stuff. So yeah, when I finally got the call to go to AAA, it was like I felt like.
And it was that quick in after that 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks.
Because you have to kind of like appreciate that though, that you spent pretty much parts of 3 seasons there. Yeah. You got off to a good start, and they rewarded you quickly. Yeah. They didn't make you like stay there.
Well, I think for them also, like, okay, if we got to get him, like once he has success, we got, or he might die in AA. But no.
And where was that? That's in Arkansas?
Yeah, right in Fayetteville or Springfield or Springdale. But yeah, which it was a great setup, but still, I didn't want to be in AA that much longer.
Yeah.
But,
and then we're in AAA Omaha.
Omaha.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I got called up to AAA, I felt like I was getting called up to the big leagues. I was so excited. But I go to AAA and I continue playing really well. I ended up having a really good year there. Go to the Futures game. But then this is where I kind of go back to your earlier question is like having such a good team in Kansas City. I probably could have got called up earlier in 16 because I was having such a good year, but there was nowhere I could have played. I mean, that team was the World Series team.
Yeah.
Did you feel, so you're in camp in 15, you have your kind of struggles in 15. Do you in any way kind of feel connected to the big league roster? Are you watching as kind of like a fan, as being someone in the organization? Is it exciting for you to see Kansas City go into the playoffs, ultimately win the World Series? Or is there kind of some bitterness feeling maybe you feel like you should be a part of it?
It was kind of all of it because I think I was having so much success early, like in the minor leagues, that there was like chatter saying, oh, he could get called up in 14, help us out. Like maybe not at third, but maybe in the outfield. And then of course they go to the World Series in 14 and then they win in 15. And I'm far from the big leagues at that point because I'm struggling bad in 15. So there was kind of like, man, I could have been a part of that if I just maybe didn't decide to change my hitting philosophy. So there was a little bitterness, but it was also like watching as a fan. I mean, the whole organization was so excited for this. And I was actually out in Arizona, like for some, not instructs, but they just wanted to get me out there to hit with some more hitting coaches because I came off a bad year in 15. So just like being out there, still being involved with the team and all the excitement around, like I remember them coming back and beating Houston in the playoffs and just like how that whole facility like blew up and the excitement. I was like, man, this is cool. Like
you think that kind of lit a fire a little bit too, being there, watching that, seeing the excitement and kind of feeling like, man, I want to be a part of that. I want kind of this next generation of players to be in this situation, watching me do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you see Kauffman sold out, packed. Like you want that. You want to play in front of that. You want to do that for Kansas City. And I got a little taste of that when I did finally get called up in 16 because we were fighting for a wild card spot. We didn't make it, but I mean, it was packed out.
And you've obviously had some of the greatest outdoor stadiums to play in during the playoffs. But for me, getting a chance to play in a sold out Kauffman in 2015, what a place, man.
It's
electric, passionate fans, obviously the Rogers Center's indoors, so like the volume's loud,
louder,
right?
yeah.
For an outdoor stadium, though, Kauffman was
Yeah.
intimidating. The fans feel like they're right on top of you. They're not quite Boston fans, or they're like vulgar.
Yeah.
Like they appreciate, good baseball. They're passionate though.
Yeah.
It's a great place to come in as a visiting player because you don't feel like your life's in danger.
Yeah.
You don't feel like they're gonna, belittle you and like talk about your wife and your kids and
Look
your
up your
family and stuff.
Instagrams.
But it's like it's still very passionate,
Yeah.
and you felt it. And man, that was a great experience I had going into a sold out Kauffman Stadium and playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's cool. I love that place.
Kauffman, yeah. I play there a lot.
Yeah.
And never in a playoff game, but big games like down the stretch.
Yeah.
And 14. We were battling for wild card. Because Detroit was murdering everybody in the division. But I remember giving up. I gave up a game tying homer to Gordo. And dude, he loved facing me. Like he would sprint to the batter's box when I'm on the mound. And I mean, dude, he hit one and at Kauffman, like those fountains are back there.
Yeah.
He hit one. It was like first pitch of the inning. It was like on Sunday Night Baseball or something. And that was one of the louder moments that I've ever. And I've gotten to play at Fenway in the postseason. I've gotten to play at Yankee Stadium in the postseason, Wrigley in the World Series. Kauffman, that place gets loud.
Yeah.
Because it seats. How many people does that place seat?
I think like 35, 40.
And like none of them are in the outfield.
Well, and then you get a lot of people like on the concourse out there.
Yeah.
Too.
And so like most of the
Standing
people,
room.
you have this giant like stadium bowl, kind of behind the
Kinda
home
like
plate.
Over you, it feels like.
Yeah. So it's pretty big.
Hey, hold on. Before we get into your debut stuff, I wanted to ask you something just from the other side. I haven't had a chance to talk to a Kansas City guy, but that 2015 playoff team was so fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Like they just did everything right. Is that something you remember kind of vividly being in spring training in 2015, the focus on fundamentals, the base running? Because ultimately the play that changed our kind of fate was that ball that was hit down the right field line. They knew Jose was going to spin throw to second base. They wheeled Lorenzo. It was a hit and run.
Mm-hmm.
He stole. Hosmer hit the ball down the right field line. They never stopped sending Lorenzo Cain because they knew that Jose was going to spin throw it to second base. By the time they got to second base, Tulo redirected it to home. It was too late. And that was ultimately the play that lost us the series.
Yeah.
And I always want to know, was that like a huge thing that you guys focused on, the fundamentals, the base running, the cuts and relays?
Yep. Oh yeah. Spring training was a track meet. We did base running all the time, and it was Rusty Kuntz was like, this is our
Dude,
identity.
Rusty
He's the man.
Yeah.
But like, and they always like, this is how we're going to win ball games. This is how the big league team wins ball games. Like, so we hammered like playing really good defense and base running, like playing small ball. So yeah, they were very, and we actually worked on that play, and they always brought that play up like, hey, and we worked on it defensively too. Like, this is why we can't throw it here, because that guy at third is running, and they would always put it on the screen.
Honestly, after that play happened on the big stage, when I went into spring training the next year with Toronto, and then honestly, pretty much every spring training, all the different teams I played on, we worked on that play.
Yeah.
It's not a traditional play, because normally on that play, the cutoff man, the second baseman would line up to second base, and the throw would come into second base. But you kind of implemented kind of this rover. The second baseman would kind of rove between second and a cutoff to home. So he kind of had the option to redirect. So that play honestly changed. I mean, maybe not for the Royals. They were kind of ahead of the curve. But for a lot of other teams, that play changed something we did in spring training.
Yeah. And I think the base running too. I mean, I think having another guy, RIP, but Terrence Score, having him on the bench and like watching him steal bases, then having Dyson too. It's like you have those guys coming off the bench who can steal second and third.
That Kansas City team kind of, in multiple ways, it changed how teams valued players, right?
For sure.
So that Kansas City team in 14 and 15, like right after that is when bullpen guys, like there were some guys that were like, hey, we need to go sign, the elite bullpen arms and build this like monster at the back end. That was one way they did it.
Yeah.
And then also too, the kind of the guys that were your DH corner, like first baseman, like guys that hit 30, 35 homers, they became less valuable because teams were like, hey, we want guys that make a lot of contact. We want guys that can run, and we want guys that can play anywhere in the outfield. Because I think that 2015 outfield, you guys had Zobrist, Locaine, Dyson, and Gordo.
And I think what was the Paulo was there too.
Yeah.
Paulo could run.
Paulo.
He was a freak.
Yeah. And then, so you had all those guys that could play.
Was Zobrist? I think Zobrist was playing second.
He was playing second.
And I think Omar Infante was there too, right? Was Omar there?
I think he was there in 14.
In 14, okay. Yeah. So it was Zobrist.
So
and then the outfield,
second.
I think when we played in the postseason was Gordo, Lorenzo Cain, and Paulo. And it's like, where the hell are you going to hit a ball in the outfield with those three running it down?
Yeah. Well, and also starting pitching. I feel like the Royals, hey, if you can just get us 5 with a lead or close, we got this.
Because who was the starting rotation then? It was like Jason Vargas, maybe?
Vargas, you had
in 15?
Danny Duffy.
In 15, when we played him in the postseason, it was Ventura, Edison Volquez, and was Chris Young still there?
He was there.
Yeah. Chris Young still pitched, but then they moved Danny Duffy to the bullpen. And then it was Luke Hochaver. It was
Wade
Davis at the back,
Kelvin
Ray
Herrera.
Cullen, and Herrera.
Yeah.
And it's like, where the hell are you supposed to get a hit?
Get us to 6.
Where do you score?
Get us to the 6 inning. Yeah. But yeah.
All right, let's get back to you real quick. So sorry, I had to ask that question because that was
we hammered.
I had
running.
to know because it just seemed like the Kansas City, it was like a culture. It was like Kansas City played a certain way that other teams weren't playing. It was fundamentally sound. It was base running. It was knowing where the cuts and relays went. Yeah. And, for the rest of my career, I remember working on that play.
But I think where it kind of hurt coming up as Royals is there was less emphasis on like hitting. I felt like we were doing so much base running, defense, like team fundamentals that like, personally, I felt like hitting kind of got lost. Like the hitting development got lost, I felt like, which was unfortunate, but I felt like we were doing so much stuff on field and not enough hitting.
Yeah.
But again, they won a World Series. They went to the World Series twice, then finally won it. So it was like, this is their identity. And this is kind of what they were trying to form the minor league. Hey, this is our identity. We're going to be a small ball organization, have really good pitching, have athletes, base running, like play really, really good defense. But yeah, it worked out.
So you make your debut, 2016. Where are you? Who do you make your debut against? Who's the first person you call?
Well, I get called up. My wife's in town because it's September. I don't know if I'm getting called up, but I'm assuming I am because really good year. September 1st happens. I don't get called up, and I'm like, maybe I'm not. I call my agent. They're like, I don't know. Like they're not saying much.
I have to let people know real quick because the rules have changed a little bit. But at the time, this is 2016, the roster space was different. Right now, even in September, you can only add two guys. So it goes from 26 to 28. So typically, you're adding one pitcher, one position player. In 2016. Your big league roster could go from 25 to 40. If you were on the 40-man or they had a 40-man spot available, they could call up. You can have an entire roster of 40 people. So September 1st comes around, you're on the 40-man roster, I'm assuming, at the time.
No, I'm not.
You're not? You're not? Okay.
No.
So that's maybe a little bit of a challenge. It's not a super difficult challenge to overcome because you can add people to the 40-man pretty easily, but it still has to be kind of a gut punch to you that the fact that they could bring up 14 more guys, you're having a great year in AAA, you don't get the call.
Yeah. So I didn't think I was getting called up because we had a couple guys get called up September 1st. The manager didn't say anything. I didn't ask because I'm like, well, maybe.
Do you remember some of the names that got called up?
Jorge Bonifacio.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember if Mondesi was up there yet. I know he was on the World Series roster, but he might have been already up there. And then some pitchers, some bullpen guys. But yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not getting called up. And my agent's like, well, they can call you up anytime. Like, the next couple of days, because back then minor league ball ended a month earlier than now it just keeps going to the end of the I think big league season.
And are the Royals, they're coming off the World Series, I'm trying to remember, in 2016, are they still competing down the stretch?
Yeah, they're right in the wild card.
Yeah, this is the last year. Was this the last year of like all like the kind of the core guys like Haas and Moose? Like a lot of, well, I guess Salvi was on his deal, but I know.
Yeah,
I think Haas was going into free agency. Moose was going into free agency,
and I think some of them stayed for 17. And then Moose came back in 18.
That's right.
Yeah, because he did. Yeah, I think 17 he was the free agent. Then that was a qualifying offer. He declined it, and then ended up re-signing.
And then they traded him to the Brewers.
Yeah, that's right.
So I didn't think I was getting called up, and then the next day I've been playing third, the whole season. The next day I come in and I'm in right field. I'm like, well, that's weird.
With nothing. Hadn't been taking fly balls.
I mean, Rusty would come in. Oh, not Rusty. The
coordinator,
outfield coordinator, Mitch Meyer would kind of come around. And he was like, hey, let's get some work in the outfield. You never know what's going to happen up there.
Did you have any minor league games in the outfield to this point?
At the time, maybe one.
Oh, God.
Yeah, maybe one. And so I'm like, okay, I'm playing right field. All right. Play right field. It was fine. Then after the game, I get the call, or like they bring me in and said, hey, you're getting called up. We just wanted to wait today, get you in a game in right field, because Moose is at third, and Haas is at first. And those are the two positions. I mainly just played third, so I didn't really have a game at first. Actually, I didn't ever play first in the minor leagues. So anyway, I get the call. My wife's there. I run out, tell her, of course, call my mom and dad, super excited. We wake up in the morning, we drive down to Kansas City. I've all the emotions, kind of what I felt in draft day, kind of coming up again. My parents crying, my parents flying out, my brother's flying out, sister's flying out, everyone's flying out. But what kind of sucked is it took me 12 days to make my debut, and I was in the big leagues.
Whoa.
Yeah. It got to a point.
So what was the date that you got added to the roster?
I think it was the
September
2nd, and I think my debut was the 12th. So like 10 days. So it took me over a week, and it got to the point where we were on the road and Haas and Moose and those guys were joking around like, hey, are you hurt? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, why haven't you made your debut? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. And then they started being vocal about it, like in the dugout. They're like, hey, Yost, let's get Dozier in. Like, let's let him make his debut. But for some reason, he waited. So what sucked is when I finally did make my debut, nobody was there. My family wasn't there. My wife wasn't there.
That's a tough.
So like,
how long did your family kind of stick around when you got called up?
We were there for, I think we were there for 3 games. It was a 3-game series. Then we went on the road. So I 3 games at home, then go on the road and don't play at all on the road. And then come back and we're playing the A's, and we're getting blown out. And I finally get a pinch hit opportunity. I go in and play right, which I'm like, okay, I'm playing right field. I played it twice in my career.
Yeah.
And then I go in and hit, and my first debut is against Zach Neal.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you guys have
fan
known
of the
each other.
show.
Yeah.
And future guest.
Yeah. And so you guys, and you've
known from
Zach
working out.
Yeah.
So
That's
what I've never really heard this before. Someone getting called up. I've heard people of getting called up maybe for like a day or two, like a bullpen arm, and then getting sent down. But the fact that you're in the big leagues for 10 days and you don't sniff the fields.
No.
Does that is it still, obviously it's exciting to get called up, but how many days into this are you like, what am I doing here? The excitement's kind of worn off a little bit. You're like, what the hell is my purpose here?
Yeah.
Am I ever going to play? Is there part of you that's like, I wish I was still AAA, like playing? If they're not going to use me, let me at least go play. Because at some point you are going to get an opportunity to play. Sitting for 10 days is not an easy thing to do, to go out and be sharp in the field, whether you're playing right or third. Hitting's near impossible for sitting 10 days, right?
Yeah.
Does any of these thoughts ever kind of cross your mind, or everything that you've kind of been through in your minor league career, the 3 years in AA, changing your swing, getting back to who you are you just kind of grateful to be there?
I was extremely grateful to be there, but like it was extremely tough. Going in every day thinking, okay, is this the day I'm going to actually become a Major League Baseball player, like make my debut? It was hard. And I mean, you're anxious, like, if playing on the bench, like you never know if you're going to get in, when you're going to get in. It could happen like that. Cause there was multiple times during those 10, 11 days where they're like, hey, start warming up. Like you might go in, if we pinch run for Haas, like you might go to first. I'm like, I've never played first. All right.
And I'll tell people at home, I was fortunate. I was an everyday player for a long time, but being a bench player is the hardest thing I've ever done in my career because of that reason. Obviously the timing stuff is extremely difficult. You're not playing, you're not in the rhythm of the game, but it's the unknown.
Yeah.
It's not like you sit on the bench with your feet up and you're like, hey, I got a day off today. When you're a starter and you get a day off, more than likely you could kick your feet up. You may know like maybe the 7th, 8th inning, if the game's close, hey, but they're going to also treat you right. They're going to be like, hey, this game's kind of tight. You think you got a pinch hitting you. You think you could pinch run and you're like, let me see how the body feels. Okay, yeah, I'll do it, right? But you also sometimes have the option to say no, right? You've kind of earned that right.
Yeah.
But when you're a bench guy, the unknown, from the first inning, you're kind of heads on a swivel.
What's the anxiety?
You never sit around. Someone steps a little funny in the outfield and you're like, oh shit, did he twist his ankle? Is it me? Like, should I start getting ready? It's the worst job in baseball. It's the worst.
I mean, you have to pay attention to the game. Like, okay, did somebody get hurt right there? Like he's slow to get up. Okay.
The lefties warm up in the bullpen.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they going to pitch it in the 4th? You're like, you just never know.
You start moving around. Like, and I learned that, Billy Burns kind of taught me. He was like, hey, this is how, because he was kind of mostly, with Kansas City, a bench guy. So he was like, hey, around 4th, 5th inning, I go into the cage, I start getting loose, I take some swings. And like every other like inning, like go back in there, get loose, run. So he kind of taught me how to deal with it, but not playing a major league game and having to do that and just like wondering, when am I going to get in? It drove me crazy.
It's a lot easier. It's so much easier. And it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. But when I became a bench guy, I was probably like 7 years into my career, right? So like, one, they knew who I was, what I was able to do, but I also had seen a lot of bench guys do it. And I knew kind of how to prepare for that role. The anxiety never went away. I think it aged me tremendously sitting on the bench, right?
It did,
the anxiety.
It's so much harder for your body too, I felt like.
Knowing, and the statistics of like pinch hitting and being successful are so low. So like you're basically a sitting duck. You're waiting to get your opportunity to go fail. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was tough.
So when did you, so 10 days in, what was, you finally make your official debut. You cement your flag, you plant your flag, you're a major leaguer. Not to say you weren't a major leaguer, because you get called up, you're getting service time, but
but I don't have it.
You touched the major league field.
Yeah.
How did that happen? What was the conversation? Did you get a proper amount of kind of lead up to it? And how much do you think guys like, Hosmer and Moose, kind of having your back ultimately forced Ned's hand to get you in a game?
Well, honestly, if we weren't getting blown up by the A's, I don't know if I would ever got in. It felt like that. But we were getting blown out by the A's, and of course they took all the starters out. So I kind of knew. I had a couple innings where I'm like, okay, this game's not looking well. We're kind of at that point out of the wild card, or it was like getting farther away. And so, I made my debut in right. I just remember running out there, and it was a packed stadium. I remember running out to right field, and I'm just like, all these people are here to watch us play a game. Like, I just remember like thinking like, this is crazy. Like, this is a baseball game, something I've done since I was 5 years old, and they're all here to watch this. Just kind of like a silly game. And I just remember it kind of helped me like take the pressure and take the nervousness, anxiety away. Cause I'm like, man, at the end of the day, it is a baseball game. Like, we started playing this game because we loved it. Like, nothing's changed. Like, the crowd's changed, but like, it's still the same game. So it kind of helped me kind of live in that moment a little bit. And I'm glad I kind of took that moment to kind of take everything in. But then I go hit, and Zach strikes me out. But the Kansas City, they were great. They gave me a kind of a standing O because I was a high draft pick, and they were excited to finally get me up there. But yeah, and then I mean, I didn't get too much playing time in September. I think I ended up getting like 16 at bats.
Any starts?
I think a couple starts.
And during that time, during the 10 days where you didn't play, were you taking a lot of fly balls in right field? Did you feel like at the very least being there for those 10 days allowed you to be a little bit more prepared as an outfielder, considering you played one game in the minor leagues in the outfield?
So when I got up there, I did not take a ground ball. I was all in the outfield, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm like, I played this position my whole career, and now I'm trying to learn a new one in the big leagues. So I was with Rusty every day, learning right field, which helped me in my career later on when I started playing some outfield more. But yeah, it was cool to be up there with those guys, that same team from the World Series, watching them. I didn't get a ton of playing time, but it was a cool experience.
Did you get your first hit that year?
I did, yeah. So the next day, we were getting blown out again, and I pinched hit, and I got a double for my first hit.
Off who?
Oh, come on, Hunter.
I don't know. I'm terrible at these things.
What?
It was a left. I know. I have a
Lefty
plaque
for
it.
Oakland?
Yeah.
Was it Abad?
I want to say it's like Overton or something.
Okay.
But I try not to, and
what was everybody's got one of these. What was your like welcome to the big leagues moment? Like where you're like,
or was
what
it maybe
the
the
heck?
next year?
Well, so the next year I was hurt all year.
Oh, you were old.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So I started the year on the 60 day.
When did that, was this a spring training injury, an off-season injury?
Spring training, grade 2 oblique.
And were you going into this would be 2017.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had a place on the team? Was there conversations that you were going to be the right fielder?
I was fighting for a spot.
You were fighting for a spot.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was going to make the team. I was fighting for the spot. And then I blew out my oblique. Missed. I got put on the 60 day, stayed in Arizona, rehab there, missed 8 weeks. And then I was on my rehab assignment in Omaha, and I blew my hamate. Well, so I get
like what, 12 weeks?
It's about
6
weeks,
weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. But so I get all cleared for my oblique, and then instead of calling me up, they just send me down to Omaha.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I blew out my hamate, which sucked because of like service time and big league pay.
Yeah. Minor league DL is
exactly. It's not as good as big league DL. If you're going to be on the DL,
get hurt in the big leagues. Don't get hurt in the minor leagues.
So yeah, I had to have hamate surgery, and then I also had some stuff with like my ulna bone right here. They had to shave down. So missed another 8 weeks, and then they sent me to AA in August.
You're like, no way. AA again.
I know. I'm like, please no. They're like, it's just a rehab assignment.
Anywhere else, right? I'll do it in Arizona, I swear. Get me out of Arkansas.
So what's funny is the first game we're in Springfield, and first inning, playing third base, ball hits down the line.
Hold on real quick. So are you competing for a spot in the outfield in spring training? Right field?
Yeah.
So why the hell are you playing third base on a rehab assignment? Like, it just feels like there's not a lot of communication
there's not,
going on.
And I'm moving around a lot. It was just kind of I felt like maybe I was fighting for a bench spot, maybe not a starting spot. But yeah, they moved me around a lot, from right to left to third. Now I was playing some first. So yeah, I was playing third, and first inning, ball gets hit down the line, go backhand, it hits a bad hop, hits my nose, breaks my nose.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
great year.
I go in, my nose is crooked, bleeding. I have to go to Kansas City. They fix my nose. I miss another couple weeks. And then I come back.
Where are we at in the calendar?
So this is like, we have 2 weeks left of season when I finally get back.
So you pretty much missed the whole year.
I missed the whole year for
oblique,
3 different
hamate,
on the
wrist
bone. Yeah. And
then the broken nose.
Yeah. And
so how's your mental state at this point? You know, getting your debut, sitting for 10 days, you know, in and out of the lineup, you get your first hit, you kind of plant your flag, you go into spring training, you feel like you're going to compete for a spot. You pretty much missed the entire year with 3 different injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you mentally at this point?
It was tough because my wife was pregnant. My son was born into July. So like we were also dealing with that. Kept getting hurt. I felt like I should have been on the big league team. Like I could have been on the big league team. It was just like such a weird and unfortunate. It was almost like at the end of the year, it was like laughable. It was like, what did I do wrong? Like, so it was just like, yeah, there was a lot of downs that year. But luckily looking back in my career, that was the only time I was really hurt was 2017. It just happened all in 1 year.
Yeah.
But finally I'm finally healthy. I played the last week and a half in Omaha. And then I don't get called up for September. This is still when you could call up 40 people. I don't get called up, which I was like, and I was playing fine for my week and a half I had, but they were like, hey, we're not going to call you up. Like you've had a really tough year. And I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, I think getting called up would be the best thing for me. Give me some more at bats. Like,
well, and also too, just get you around the team that you
also maybe reward you for going through the fire and coming out on the other side.
I know. So I didn't understand.
And you were
that.
obviously comfortable sitting on the bench too. Like you're like, I've been able to sit on the bench for 10 days at the very least. I've been through that. With the boys, right?
Yeah, but they decided not to call me up, which kind of hurt. And they decided they wanted me to go to winter ball. So I had to go to Mexico, which was
an experience.
It was an experience. I was down there for
which is a difficult thing too, having a baby. You're like, okay, at the very least, my season's over. Let me go home and be a dad. Let me be around my kid. I'm almost certain you didn't bring your wife and your young child to Mexico. Yeah, and where'd you play in Mexico?
Hermosillo.
And what was that experience like?
Well, it was tough. Like you said, my wife was at home with a newborn, first-time parents. Like she's struggling. We have family close by to help, but like I go off to Mexico. They just want me to get bats. Mm-hmm. I went to the Dominican the year before in 2016. Played there for a couple of weeks and had some wrist injuries, which ended up getting fixed. But so I had a little experience with the winter ball, but Mexico's a different world.
Did you play with anybody down there that you knew?
I didn't. I was going down there. I didn't know anybody.
You speak any Spanish?
No, I wish I did. But it was okay. I got off to like a really hot start, and I'm like, I remember calling the Royals. I played like 2 weeks. I was like on fire. I was like, I'm good. Can I go home? And they're like, no, we want to get you to this number at bats. And I was like, all right. And then we were in the city, Culiacan, and I get food poisoning. And this probably the worst food poisoning I ever had. The bus was picking us up. I was throwing up. I couldn't get out of bed. I was throwing up. It was miserable. I called the GM. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I can't keep it. I'm super dehydrated. He was like, okay, we'll stay there. We'll send somebody and we'll take you to the hospital.
And you're like, great.
I'm like, great. So these two guys come knock on the door, and one doesn't speak a lick of English. The other guy's translator, which he barely spoke English.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, come with me. And so I go down, I grab my stuff, like my backpack with my wallet and stuff. And you get paid with cash down there too. So like they paid a little bit up front. And so I had some cash on me, and there's this tiny old pickup truck, and there's no room. There's only like 3 seats, and there's 3 people in there. So I had
just a front seat.
Yeah, just a front seat.
You right middle.
Everywhere.
No, I had to sit in the bed. I sat in the bed with the translator, and we're going on the highway, like going 80 down the highway. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Like I'm sick as a dog on the highway in a truck bed with
puking in a barf bag.
Guys, I don't know where they're taking me.
Loaded down with cash.
Yeah. And we go down this like road that's like sketchy road. And all of a sudden the translator starts like, hey, so you play baseball, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, they pay you pretty well, right? And I'm just thinking, I'm like looking around. I'm like, I'm
dead.
Yeah. They're taking me. And I'm already like kind of looking, okay, well, if I jump off, where do I run? Like all these thoughts are going through my head, because I'm like, also I'm like trying not to throw up. And he just keeps asking about like how much money I'm making. How much money is this baseball team giving me? And I just like I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm not.
I'm actually paying them to be here. Yeah.
Volunteer.
Yeah. But anyway, like everything works out. They take me to the hospital and they just basically drop me off. And I walk in. Nobody speaks English in there, and I don't know how I end up going to a room and they hook me up with IV, and I spend the night in the hospital. Still zero communication with the team. Don't know what's going on, by myself, and can't even communicate with the nurses what's going on. I just like showing them like I'm throwing up.
Playing charades at a hospital.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I remember like texting my wife. And,
you take any Spanish in high school or anything?
No, I took American Sign Language, which didn't help me too much.
I feel like I played winter ball. I played winter ball in the Dominican. I took Spanish in high school, and like we're talking, I wouldn't even say elementary, but like enough to be like a stomacho.
Yeah,
you know, like you're trying. Did you at least try to sign it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we're like pointing here and like throwing up, and I spent the night, and then like my dad was like furious. He was like, I'm going to fly down there. I'm going to bring you home. Like it was just like a weird situation, no communication. And then the GM walks in the morning. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Well, hey, good to see you." Like, I don't know. I just felt super like, I didn't even know what was going on. And I was feeling much better. I guess they gave me some anti-nauseous medicine or whatever. And he took me back. We were flying back out. And right when we got back there, I was like, "I'm done. I'm leaving." And so I left, went back home, but it was okay up until that experience.
Yeah. So, all right. So you get through that whole winter ball experience. But do you have at this point in your career, so like you had a little bit of experience in 16, none in 17, no big league experience. When was your like welcome to the moment as like you're facing like a dude or you get a big hit off somebody or you just kind of experience, you're like, holy smokes, like this is the big leagues. Like when did you have that one first?
Can I say it's against you?
Really?
I mean, I think so. Cause I got called up in 18 a couple weeks in the season.
So no opening day experience.
No opening day. Yeah. I went to AAA. We signed Lucas Duda. He was playing first. And at that time I was bouncing around from third, first, right. So he ended up, Luca gets hurt and they call me up. So I'm playing first. And I'm doing all right. But I keep thinking, okay, when he comes back, like I'm going to be sent down. I'm hitting the ball hard, like just missing pitches, but like the results weren't there. He comes back and like, no, we think you're doing like, you're doing great. Like you're having good at bats. We're going to keep you around. But I would say that at bat against you, from what I remember, kind of freed me up. And when I think back, it's like, okay, that's where I gained my confidence. That was like, because from there I took off.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I know you did that first.
Yeah, right.
You just helping me out.
I was going in a free agent year, and I remember, I do remember, man, that at bat, like you were swinging the bat well.
I was hitting the ball hard, but like no results.
Yeah, you were swinging the bat well. That team, I don't think you guys were playing particularly well as a club.
Yeah.
And you were a guy in the, they had you in the middle of the lineup where it was like, hey, this guy doesn't have a ton of experience or he doesn't have like stats under his belt. Well, like I remember going into like our pitchers meetings and like, hey, this guy can cover this or this guy can cover this. And so it wasn't like, normally, the guys that don't have a ton of time was like, hey man, just trust your stuff and go get them. Right.
Yeah.
But with you and Ryan O'Hearn, who's before you guys were both kind of in a similar spot where not a ton of big league experience. Both were putting up solid at bats. But yeah, I mean, I thought I made a really good pitch. And
so after that moment, you kind of just, what position are you playing for them? Are you still kind of bouncing around all three? You finished 2018 really strong.
Yep.
I was like playing number wise, like good average, slug on base, like good numbers.
Yeah. I mean, my 2018 end of the year numbers weren't great. But like the back end, like if you did the splits, like I finished the year really well.
From that moment on,
maybe a little bit before that. Like I would say the last 2 months of the season, I played really well.
And where were you playing? It's still kind of utility?
I was playing first, and then they called up Ryan O'Hearn, and then he only played first, so they put him at first. So then I went over to third, back to third.
This is post All-Star. So this is the year Moustakas comes back?
Yeah, but he was traded.
So they trade him, and it kind of frees up that third base spot for you to play.
Yeah, and we also had a guy named Chester Cuthbert who was playing some third too.
Yeah.
So
he's actually, I mean, I thought he was a nice player.
Yeah, he was a good player. He could hit. So I was playing some third and then still a little bit outfield. And then like O'Hearn, wouldn't face lefties, so like I would play first, kind of bounce around. But yeah, finished the year really strong. And I remember thinking, okay, this is what I need to continue to do moving forward into next year.
And so you go into spring training in 19. What's that experience like? Finally kind of playing being a regular playing, having some success, especially those last 2 months of the season. You're going into spring training with a level of confidence, feeling like you have a spot on the team, or at the very least competing for a spot. Manager knows who you are at this time.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to go into spring training and kind of prove it. You feel like there's a clear path for you to have your first opening day. Yeah,
for sure. It was a good feeling going into camp, knowing that I knew I was on the team. Now I was just fighting for a starting spot, which was nice. Kind of knowing that security, but then also having some competition where it's like I got to get after it from day one.
Mm.
I think it was me and Chris Owens that were kind of fighting for that third base job.
Spanky. That was his nickname, Spanky.
I love.
He's a little guy, but he has some power.
Yeah, he had a great year.
Fast, and like he was a good.
The
player.
year before, I think he had a really good year with Arizona.
Yeah.
We signed him, but I ended up having I kind of started spring off slow and then finished really, really well and kind of won the spot. But then of course, first couple weeks in season in 2019, I'm struggling.
How was your first opening day experience? Because opening day is bigger than baseball.
Yeah.
Like it is a holiday. It's an experience. You know, I was fortunate. I played in 10 of them, and it's challenging on the players because it throws off your normal routine, but it is just one day where you don't care about like the normal routine. It's the start of something new.
Yeah.
Everyone's record's the same. Your batting average is all at 0. It's like, to me, that was like the moment where I feel like I really made it when I got a chance to start on opening day.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, opening day was like a little emotional. It's like all the feelings, you get the planes flying over, like the energy.
Did you get to do it at home too?
Yeah.
At Kaufman? Yeah, that's cool.
So it was awesome. I remember having like some tears in my eyes, just like being so thankful for like everything that, you know, I went through and all these guys went through to be able to like standing out on that field. So it's
family there.
How
many kids do you have at this time?
That would be 2018. I have one still.
Just one kid. Your
or
wife,
no, 2019. So I have one, and my wife is pregnant, due in the middle of summer.
Who were you playing and who'd you face? Like who?
We were playing.
Do I need to look this up?
I don't. Yeah, you might have to. I don't remember who we're playing.
You played the Chicago White Sox.
White Sox, yeah. I'm saying we normally open up against them or the Twins.
Your starting pitcher is Brad Keller.
Uh-huh.
You're hitting 1, 2, 3. You're hitting fourth behind Alex Gordon. You're playing right field. And who was the starting pitcher for the other team? The guy I actually bought this house from was a big league player too, retired before I bought this house.
Carlos Rodon.
Oh, wow. Carlos Rodon. But he would always tell me, I was still playing. I was still going back to play. And he would like tell me, you're going to get done and you're going to forget a lot of things. He's like, I don't even remember my last hit. I'm like, there's no way, you know, like in my brain, like I remember like very specific at bat. So it's kind of funny that
I know. I feel embarrassed. I don't know, but it's like, when you think back, it's like you play so many games and it's like everything kind of just runs together.
Yeah. It was Carlos Rodon. He was probably
Carlos Rodon. Yeah. He was
probably fresh out of college.
Yeah. He was young.
Stud.
Yep.
Throwing cheese.
Yeah.
So you go out and have your best season in 2019. What really clicked for you? Is it a matter of just everything that you've gone through in your career, finishing strong at 18, coming into camp knowing you have a spot, getting a chance to play, you know, often knowing you have a chance, or knowing you have an opportunity, you have a little bit of a runway. Maybe there's a chance you can fail a little bit and you know that you're not going back kind of all of the above? What really stands out to you that allowed you to go out and have this unbelievable year?
Yeah, I mean, I start 2019 off the first couple of weeks slow. And I remember I had a really good relationship with our hitting coach. And he pulled me into the cage. We were in Detroit. And he was like, hey, and we got off as a team to a slow start too. He was like, hey, Ned Yost, the manager at the time, he's like, he wants to make changes. Like, this isn't going right. He was like, I'm not saying it's you, but like, if you don't pick it up, you might be getting sent down. And I'm thinking, man, I have like 20, 30 at bats. Like, and it kind of like pissed me off a little bit. And I just remember it's like, all right, like, I'll just keep working hard, keep my head down. Like, if they want to send me down, fine, whatever. Like, I'm just going to keep working hard. And literally that game, I think I hit a homer, and I go, like, I have a stretch of like a month where I just go off. And I just kind of like kept that same confidence throughout the whole year. I was in a good rhythm hitting wise. I had a good approach. Swing felt really good. And yeah, I ended up having my best year, and it was kind of set me up.
I mean, you had a great year. You almost started the All-Star game.
I thought I should have.
Well, you finished second behind
To
Alex
Bregman,
Bregman in
yeah.
the All-Star voting to start.
Yeah,
That's kind of wild. And
yeah,
you feel like, I think we could, maybe I'll pull up the stats, but you felt like you had better numbers going into it.
No, maybe not. I didn't think I should have started because, I mean, I think our numbers were very comparable. I thought I would have made the All-Star team.
Dude, I mean, you think about third base in the American League at that time. You have Bregman, Jose Ramirez,
Manny Machado.
you.
Manny still in Baltimore? Or is he in San
No,
Diego?
Manny's in San Diego now.
San Diego.
Who's in? Devers, Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about like, I mean, Jose's going to Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Bregman's probably.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so you're talking about like, I mean, not just all-stars, but these guys are perennial. Like they're there every summer. These are the guys that take the All-Star break. You know, they decline the All-Star game to get some rest.
Yeah.
And you're battling these guys for not only to be on the team, but to start the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's such a huge jump. I mean, 2 years before, you're back in Double-A.
Yeah.
You know, broken nose and trying to figure out. And you know, at the beginning of the season, they're already telling you 30 at bats in, hey, you might be going down to, you might be going back to Omaha.
Yeah.
And now you're, some of these guys are looking up at you.
Yeah.
On the ballot.
They said roughly around 300 with 11 home runs at the All-Star break.
Yeah. They even
with like an 850 to 900 OPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember they called my agent asking if they had guys drop out if I would want to do the home run derby. And I'm thinking, home run derby? Like,
where was the All-Star game this year?
Cleveland.
It was, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was in Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I told my agent, I'm like, that's like, of course I would do it, but I'm like, that just was so far out of my mind.
Yeah.
And like, but they're like, well, you have 11, like,
11 at Kauffman, might as well be 20 everywhere else.
Google says right here, Dozier was considered a major All-Star snub in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of hurt. Because I knew that Bregman was having a great year, and it's Alex Bregman. So I knew he kind of was going to win the fan vote, but I thought at least I would get voted in by
players.
The players.
Yeah. And the managers have a say in that too.
Yeah. And then I knew because it was me and Whit Merrifield. He was having a good year too. And we were in Toronto when they kind of told us who was going. And I remember they told Whit he was going, super pumped for him. I love Whit. And he kind of came to me. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
And which at the time I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm cool with it. I'll just keep playing. But of course, looking back, that would be cool to have.
Yeah.
So the other third baseman they took that year was Matt Chapman.
Oh yeah, another great. I mean, really, really good player. And it's, man, the All-Star game. There's no perfect way to do it, right? Like every year, there's going to be guys who are deserving that get left off because of, we needed a representative from your team, or they needed a representative from their team. That guy just happens to play third base, and we can't have 6 third basemen.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very difficult thing. But you have a great year. I remember watching, because I was in Anaheim that year. you guys came to our place and you played well. But I remember watching, you had a big grand slam off Brad Hand, who's another like really, really high end reliever, closer. He was in Cleveland after I was gone, but you had a big grand slam go ahead. And it really looked like your game was just taking off. Like your career was really taking off. And then the COVID season happens. I mean, what a strange year. Do you think COVID for you, and I mean, you played well. I mean, you played well that year and then even in 21. But do you think COVID just kind of like reset or reshuffled the board for like across baseball?
I think so. It was such a weird year, as y'all know, and it was just unfortunate the timing.
Yeah.
Because I was having a good spring training going in 2020. I felt right where I needed to be, like right where I left off in 2019. I was with Royals with the extension talks. So everything was going right. And I felt like I was okay. I've established myself in the big leagues. Like this is year I kind of prove that like who I am.
Yeah.
And then COVID shuts down everything. We go to when we start up, what was it, June or July when we finally get going?
I think July, 1 month of spring, and then I think we played August, September, 60-game season.
Yeah. So we go to Kansas City for the
2.0.
Yeah, 2.0. And I end up getting COVID the day before opening day.
And if you got COVID back then, that was like,
I was shut down for.
I mean, you're like, it's like a scarlet letter. Like it's like, dude, you can't be near anyone. Like seriously, I remember people getting. They were like, oh, "You got COVID, bro."
I know,
like, dude.
Yeah,
like the organization was like, "You can't be."
They
anywhere
put you in
near
the barn out back.
Seriously,
and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I had to stay in our tiny little apartment with my kids. Like, my wife got COVID, and it was just weird. Like, so I missed the first 20 games,
which is.
Third of the season.
Yeah, third of the season.
Yeah.
It was 60-game season.
Yeah. So I can't do anything. So I'm going to, there's an empty parking garage. I would go run the parking garage. I had a baseball. I would go throw it against the wall at the parking garage.
This is the major leagues. This is Major League Baseball in 2020.
And you see all those guys, they were like, had a pop-up little net and hitting in the cage. Like I didn't have a net, but I was taking dry swings in the parking garage, like doing anything I can to stay ready. Cause physically, like, I probably felt down for like a week where it was just like, I felt like I had a really bad sinus infection. But then after that, I felt ready to go. But they were like, no, you just got to wait until whatever it was, like however long we had to wait, I forget. But yeah. And then once I finally got the okay to be around guys, I had to go to the
alt site.
Where was y'all's Omaha?
It was in Kansas City,
which
was nice.
Okay.
They were doing it at the Independent Park. Just in Kansas City, right? It's close to Kaufman, like maybe 30 minutes. So, which was nice, but I remember trying to just get ready as fast as I could. Dayton was calling me. It was like, "Hey, are you ready? Like, we need you." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So then I go back up, and I have I think I played pretty well in 2020. Like I remember. I didn't feel great about it, but then the Royals afterwards, like, hey, we were super excited. Like you had a great 2020, like your walk rate, I guess, which I didn't know at the time. Like when I let my walk percentage was like one of the highest in the big leagues for that COVID year. Hit some homers, but the average was lower, but the OPS was fine. But it just felt weird because it's just like, I felt like I was coming off my best year, and there's a ton of guys that this happened to. It happened to everybody, but like, it was just unfortunate.
Because even the following year still didn't feel like normal baseball. I know people were back in the stands, but the testing protocols, couldn't be at the field.
Well, and then the whole, for me, I didn't get vaccinated. So I was dealing with the whole, like I couldn't go to Toronto.
Yeah.
So the media, like there was like 11 of us that didn't get vaccinated. And we had new ownership at the time. I signed my extension.
Yeah, I want to go back to that real quick. So you talked about going into that COVID season, there was extension talks. Obviously, the COVID season potentially shut that down, right? When did the extension talks kind of pick back up? And then you ultimately signed it, in spring training 2021? And was it an easy decision to sign it? considering everything you've gone through, or was there part of you that felt like I've gone through so much in my career, I'm finally turning into the player that I felt like I should be, and you're starting to show that? Was there any consideration of not taking that deal?
I don't think so. I mean, of course, if the numbers weren't there, my agent wouldn't have let me. But I think the biggest thing for me I had 2 kids, a third one on the way. I wanted security. And I was okay, like, taking, at the time, it seemed like a little
Haircut.
Yeah. But I just told my agent, I was like, hey, I just want security. I want to be in Kansas City. Like, I want to be able to buy a house in Kansas City. Like, so, like, we're not having to pack up a U-Haul every season and, like, travel. Like, I just wanted to have security, and, like, for my family, my kids. And so that was the biggest thing for me, is like, let's get to a number where I feel like I have security, where if it doesn't work out, I'll be okay. If it does work out, I'll be young enough where I can still sign something else.
Was it hard to get to that number? Was there a lot of back and forth, or did it work out pretty quick?
It worked out. I mean, they were talking in the off season, and of course,
and they engaged in the conversation, or was it mutual?
It was mutual, because they told us after COVID, like, hey, let's get through COVID. The new ownership was like, just got hammered by
Sherman. Yeah, because he was a minority owner in Cleveland.
Yeah, so, like, his first year was 2020, so he got hammered by that.
Yeah, and
they're like, let's just see what 2021 is going to look like as a baseball season, and then we could kind of start talking. So it kind of happened quick. And Dayton Moore was the GM, and he wanted to get this done for me too. I mean, so it kind of moved quick, and I feel like it was an easy decision.
That's awesome. So you sign the contract, you go through all that stuff. Let's go back real quick to that. I don't want this to get glazed over, because I think this is like a thing that a lot of people forget. But you guys had 11 players that weren't vaccinated, that were not allowed to go to Canada.
Yeah,
to play in that game. Was there pressure from the organization on you guys to get vaccinated, specifically just for that series?
Not from the front office.
Okay.
So not from Dayton Moore or JJ or Scott Sharp. They handled it unbelievable. We felt pressure from the owner. But I think Dayton did such a good job saying, hey, we're not going to force our guys to get vaccinated. We got a ton of pressure from the media. The coaches at the time, Matheny, did a great job saying, hey, this is y'all's decision.
Oh, that's right. Ned wasn't there anymore.
No. So the coaches did a great job, and there was coaches that didn't get vaccinated. Like our pitching coach didn't. Our bullpen
who was like the biggest name dude, like, on your team that wasn't vaccinated?
I would probably Whit Merrifield.
Whit.
And you guys know Whit. He's more vocal and is not as afraid to, like, speak his opinion and stuff.
It always helps in a situation like that.
Yeah.
You do have a big name in your organization, like a Whit Merrifield, who's also outspoken.
Yeah.
You had to feel a little bit more comfort knowing he was one of the guys, but there's also strength in numbers. It wasn't like it was just you and him. 11 of you guys made this decision, and it was a personal choice. So there had to be some comfort in that.
It is, for sure. Having that many guys who said, hey, we're not going to do this. Like, let's stick together. And the media pounded us. And even the broadcast guy, like, of course, watching the game, they were kind of making their remarks and stuff. Like, they couldn't believe how, we were being so selfish and, like, all that stuff. Like, we're not team guys because we didn't want to take the vaccine, just all this stuff. And, like, my Instagram and Twitter was getting blown up. Like, how are you a Christian when you're killing people and stuff like that? I'm just like, it was crazy.
And this isn't for, like, the season. This is for a 3-game series.
Exactly, against Toronto. Yeah. And which they ended up lifting at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But it was just, I would say I felt most pressure from the media and stuff, which I didn't care. And I knew I was gonna, but I don't know. It was a personal decision, and I was like, this is for my well-being, and I don't feel confident doing it, so I'm not going to do it. And what's crazy is Whit doesn't get the vaccine, and then the whole thing happens, and he gets traded to Toronto.
Oh, wow. When he went to Toronto, did he have to get it or no?
No, because it was the
lifted
following
No,
year. It was the following
was-
year, I believe. I don't think it was that same year, was it?
2021.
Yeah, so 2021, not the COVID year, but the following year.
It might have been 2022, but it was still, you still kind of had to be, I think you still had to show that you were vaccinated.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff, man. It was wild because I was at the alternate site with the Cubs, and we were getting, you're getting swabbed all the time. It was wild. But dang, so so I'm sure that was probably like, what,
You're right. In 22, he got traded to Toronto.
Yeah, but there's still rules where
Yeah.
he had to, like, to go to Canada, you had to be vaccinated or something.
Wild.
Yeah.
So you signed the contract in 21. I'm sure that's got to feel like, man, like culmination of all of this stuff. Now you've got 2 kids, another one on the way. You've got a lifetime of work invested into this game.
Yeah.
And now you're in a spot where you're like, man, like my family's taken care of. Did you feel any added pressure to perform because of the contract, or was it this kind of, because I've heard guys say it 2 ways. It's like, one, it's freeing, right? The pressure of performance is gone. Or some guys are like, man, I felt more pressure to perform because of the contract itself. Which one were you?
It was a little of both. It was different. Like, the pressure to make a living to provide for my family wasn't there. But the pressure I put on myself to show people that I deserve that contract was even higher than I could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a lot, and I've always, my whole life, put a lot of pressure on myself. And I've always, not a good thing, I always doubted myself. So like, even when I signed it, like, I was in the back of my mind, I was like, man, am I worth that? Or like, it was almost a sense like, I don't know. And it's not good, but I've always kind of doubted myself. And going back to what we said earlier, I think that's why I've worked so hard, because I would gain confidence through my work. But yeah, I put a lot of pressure on, because it's not like it was a huge contract where like they're investing ton, like hundreds or whatever. But like, for me, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to prove to them they made the right decision.
Well, now, you also too, like, you take on the role of like of a leader, with that contract, because now it's you, it's Witt, it's Salvi. Who else is on that team at the time when you signed that deal?
That's really it, because Gordo retired in 2020.
Okay. Moose is gone.
Yeah, Moose is gone. Bobby Witt was coming up, so we knew he was going to be up there soon. But
how well did you know Bobby before he? Like, did you know Bobby at all? Because he's a local kid.
I knew his name through Zach Neal.
Okay. Do you know him at all? Like, because you guys cross paths a little bit in the big leagues, right?
Yeah. No, me and Bobby are really close.
Okay.
He got drafted in 19, then he got called up in 21 or 22, forget. But we played about a year and a half, 2 years together. And then he's locally, so we'll go golf in the off season. And
man, that's awesome. Cause like, it is one of those things, like, as you get to the end of your career, you kind of have these like full circle moments, especially, you were a guy that you signed a deal, you took on a leadership role in that organization. But when you got called up, you were looking to the Alex Gordons, the Mike Moustakas, and I'm sure like when you're the young kid who's looking at those guys, you're like, man, like, and now I'm sure Bobby, when he came up, the guys that were there that were kind of the guard, was you and Witt and Salvi. Obviously, Salvi's like, there's gonna be a statue of that guy in front of that stadium. But seeing Bobby Witt Jr. now, who's like, dude, he is probably, if you had a
top 5,
top 3
player.
Top 3.
there's a lot of people.
Ohtani.
There's a lot of people that would sit here right now and say it's Shohei Ohtani, it's Aaron Judge, and then that next player is Bobby Witt.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
He is by far the most talented guy I've ever seen, like, and played with, of course, but like, and not only like his talent, but like the type of guy he is a guy that like I want my kids to look up to.
That's
like,
awesome.
It's a great family, a great guy. He's super, super humble. For a guy that has God-given abilities, he works extremely hard, but like his God-given abilities, like, are off the charts. Like, and then he works extremely hard. He has a great demeanor about himself. He's a guy that you pull for.
When he was coming up in the Royals organization, was it clear like right away, like, dude, it's only a matter of time? Like it was like from the get-go, because sometimes guys, you see guys that are like super high picks, right? And you're like, yeah, I mean, I see the physical tools, but dude, this guy has got a lot of ground to cover because there's a huge difference between, because he was at high school.
Yeah.
And sometimes when guys get drafted out of high school, you're like, I see the skill set.
Yeah.
But man, there are a lot of holes in that swing. There's a lot of, was he just like from the get-go was like, dude, he's going to be here.
When he got drafted and he started his pro career, our bench coach, I was asking about him. I was like, what are they saying about Bobby Witt? They're like, he's the next A-Rod.
Really?
Yeah.
And then, that's early. That was like he's 18.
And then I got to see him a lot at the alternate side during 2020 because he was one of the guys who they brought in.
The 60-man pool.
And so I really got to know him then because I was there for a couple of weeks getting ready. And I mean, this guy's just hitting lasers all over the field and the fastest guy I've ever seen on the diamond. It's just like, and unbelievable at short. I'm just like, what don't you do well? And you're a great guy. It's just like, he's lived up to the hype.
Do you ever take time to kind of reflect on the fact, we love talking about this, but you ever take time to reflect that not only did you were his teammate, but you got to play on the same field as Bobby Witt?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Not just because of who he is, but like it just speaks to how good you are at baseball too, because that guy is better than everyone else, but we get to share the same field. So it's also kind of a testament that we were pretty good too.
Yeah, I know. I guess I don't look at like.
We love talking about that because people don't understand like the gap in the major leagues is so great.
Yeah.
But like even to be at the bottom tier of the major leagues, you got to be extraordinary.
Yeah.
But like the Bobby Witts are just, it's amazing that we get to share the field with those guys.
And I had that moment when like I played against Trout in 2018 or in 16 when I was playing first and Miguel Cabrera was right there.
Dude, that guy, how big is he?
He's huge.
But you're like, I play first base, you play first base. We are not the same.
I know. You're a Hall of Famer, and I'm just trying to get it.
Who is the guy, Kurt? Who's the guy that he played for the Celtics? His white guy, redheaded guy. Yeah, and he had the famous quote of like, I'm closer to LeBron James than you are to me. Right? Yeah. Like, and that, you talk about it's like, hey, we got to share the field. Like I was locker mates with Shohei Ohtani. Doesn't mean I'm anywhere close to Ohtani, but I'm closer to Ohtani than you are to me. The guy that's sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
And so
that's a good point though. I mean, I guess I forget about that. Like, because even today, like I watch these guys and it's just like, man, some of those guys are so good. And it's
dude,
like,
how good are players now?
They're so good in the pitchers. It's just like,
I think it's a cool thing that we get to do as players that played in the major leagues. Cause I have those moments too, where either I'm watching on TV or I'm covering the Blue Jays in Toronto and I watch these guys. I'm like, those guys are so good. Mm-hmm. And I forget sometimes I played it, but I was like, wait, hold on. I used to do that too. I was pretty good too, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is a cool thing that we kind of came up with. It's a cool thing for you to, kind of get a chance to, and I don't know how often you've done it since you've been done, but to kind of reflect back on your career, to kind of remind yourself that, man, I was good. Because when you retire, you kind of remove yourself from that life. A lot of us do a really good job of, closing that yearbook and then moving on to other aspects of our life, being a dad, other kind of business ventures, other sort of jobs. But I think it's cool for guys to sit in that chair and be like, man, I was pretty good. I had a cool career. I did some great things on a baseball field. I got to stand against Miguel Cabrera at first base. Yeah. Not only did I get to stand next to him, I was playing the same position in the same game. Yeah. I was teammates with Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel like I got done playing baseball and I only remember like how it ended. I only remember like the negative things about it. And it's sad because it's like we all did so much good, but I feel like a lot of us only look back at the negatives.
Do you mind sharing that real quick though? Cause you signed the deal in 21 and then you get, I guess, released or DFA'd, however they worded it in 2023. What was kind of Was there a lead up to that? What was the phone call like? What was that moment like for you in your career? And then what kind of decision did you make after that? Did you feel like you were done? Did you feel like you wanted to go somewhere else and continue playing?
Yeah, I mean, in 21, I got off to a slow start. I had opening day, I had a weird injury with my thumb where like a blood vessel broke, my whole hand swelled up, and I didn't go on the IL, but I missed the first week, a week and a half of games. And I never felt quite right for a while until probably about after the All-Star break from that injury. I just felt like I lost my feels, which I was never a mechanical hitter. Like I always just went based on feels. Like this is what the ball's doing when I hit it in the cage or in the game. Like this is what my feels are, but like I never like would like really break down my swing. So I kind of lost those feels. Started 2021, and I think I was hitting like 180 the first half. It was ugly, and then figured some things out in the second half and finished okay, but I played really well in the second half. And then going in 22, it was kind of the opposite. Started off well, playing fine the first half. And then I just couldn't finish. Second half was rough. I have always had a problem I think it started after 2020, where I was like, okay, like I was almost an all-star. I had a good 2020 year. What can I do to change to get even better? And where I should have just said, okay, this is who I am. This is my swing. Let me just keep working on that. But instead I decided to change, and I don't know why. If I could go back and change anything, it would be that, like, cause I didn't need to change my swing. I didn't need to change. I just needed to keep working hard and doing what I was doing. But I decided, I got in my own head and decided, hey, if I tweak this or change this, then maybe I could be an all-star and maybe I could hit 30 plus homers. Which it didn't work. I mean, I lost all my feels that I had in 19 and 20. I would get glimpse of it back in like 21 and 22. But it got ugly for me. It got rough. We had a house in Kansas City. I remember getting home from a night game, and I would get a bat, go stand in the driveway, and I would do dry swings for an hour after the game, just trying to find anything, any sort of confidence so I could sleep that night.
Yeah.
And I did that probably 4 or 5 times a week when we had a homestand. And then on the road, like I was doing it in the hotel room. Like I would take a bat on the bus, and I was obsessed with trying to find myself again, find my swing again. Where it got unhealthy because that's all I was thinking about it. And I built this whole pressure up about getting back to who I used to be and all that stuff. And I just kind of lost who I was as a player. Like I said, I would see glimpses of it at times, but I could never, the consistency, I lost the consistency of it. So then, yeah, in 23, I go into the season, we got a new manager, Quintero from Tampa. And I was really excited. I felt like I had a good off season. And in my mind, I was like, man, if I could just, because I was thinking, okay, I have 2 more years left in my deal. Like I have time to find myself. Like we're still coming up. Like the Royal, we're trying to be good again. So I'm like, I have time. If I can have a good year this year, then I can be right back on track. And I start the year off starting third baseman. But then with their they played a lot of matchups. So like I was playing maybe 2-3 times a week, which didn't help because I wasn't getting that many at bats. So I get off to a slow start, and actually before I got DFA'd, the 2 weeks before that, I was actually playing well. Like I was playing really good third. I think I was like, for those 2 weeks, I was hitting like 280, 300 with a good OPS. So I was like, okay, like it's starting to come. I feel it. I felt confidence in the box. And then we go on the road. We play Milwaukee. I hit a home run against Milwaukee. I play one game. And then we go to San Diego. I play one game over there. Hit the ball hard a couple of times, but I only played one. And then we go to the White Sox, and I only played one game there. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, like I've been swinging the bat well. Like what's going on? And then we get home the first day of the series. JJ calls me, our GM at the time, and He's like, hey, can you come in early today? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. And I called my agent. I was like, in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, I'm getting DFA'd. And my agent's like, there's no way you're getting DFA'd. He was like, you have essentially 2 years left of your deal. You guys aren't any good. Like, there's no reason for you to get DFA'd. Like, they still have to pay you. And I was like, all right. I was like, they're like, maybe they just want to talk about like the whole playing because you haven't been playing a lot lately. So I go in, I'm super nervous, and I go into Q's office, and it's Q and Scott Sharp and JJ and who are general managers, and they basically came and said, hey, like, we had somebody coming off the IL, and they're like, hey, we need a free roster space, and this is extremely hard to say. You've been such a big part of this organization, like saying all the nice things, which meant a lot to me, but at the time, like, I'm just complete shock.
Yeah.
And they say, we would love if you, like, we're going to DFA you, but we would love if you go back to Omaha and just keep working, and hopefully we can get you back up here. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to Omaha. Like, I have 3 kids, 4th one's on the way. But like like I was fighting back tears in that office. Yeah. And I really couldn't say anything. And it just, I don't know, it beat me up more than I thought it would, just because I felt like it was such a big shock. And I felt like there was no really need for it. But I figured out, like, Dayton Moore, the GM, got fired the year before. They got Matheny out, new ownership. I think it was making a point. Like, hey, they called a younger kid up. He was going to be playing third every day. They wanted to get some money off the books. But yeah, it was a hard moment for me. Like, then, like, all of a sudden I called my dad, and I was in tears. Like, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, we have a house here. Like, it was just like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
My wife's like about to pop. We just bought a new house here in Texas. We bought a new house in Prosper. That was getting remodeled. So there's just a ton of stuff going on. And then I get DFA'd, and it was just like, oh my gosh, the world just got flipped upside down for us. But yeah, we pack up the house in Kansas City. We drive back down and live in an Airbnb where our house gets finished getting done. And I was getting calls for like minor league deals. And I just remember, like, I was just like, do I go play, or do I just enjoy this last half of summer with my family? Like, my wife's about to pop. She was already kind of struggling with 3 kids and being super pregnant. So I decided not to do any minor league opportunities and just stay home. And it ended up being like one of the best summers of my life.
How freeing was that? Like, how much, like, no pressure? It
was so freeing, and just being home, being present, because we're all dads. And even during season, like, it's hard to be super present as a dad during season. Like, you wake up, you're at home, but you're still thinking, like, you're being present with the kids and the wife, but you're still thinking about the game later on. Like, okay, hey, what time do I have to leave? Who am I facing today? Or who are you facing today? It's just like,
were my hands in the right spot?
Exactly.
Swing in a good place.
Yeah. Watching video as I'm trying to, like, play with my kids. Yeah, just like
teaching math, and I'm watching my swing, and I'm like, God, it's so ugly. How am I going to hit this guy tonight?
Yeah. So when I took that time off, it was just like, I'm like, I don't want to go play. Like, I'm going to I'll go play in the spring, but I'm just going to be present with my family. And looking back, if I wanted to have a better ending to my career, I probably should have went and played, because then I got a taste of what, I guess, retirement would look like. But it was just a super tough time, because with all the stuff going on. But yeah, it was tough. And then I knew I was going to go try to play somewhere in 2024. And that's why I signed with the Angels as a minor league deal. And I was super excited.
Yeah. Fresh opportunity.
Yeah. Fresh opportunity. Felt good about where I was physically.
Little time off.
Yeah. I felt kind of the love of the game kind of came back. And Ron Washington was there. They had a whole new coaching staff. So it seemed like up front, this was kind of the right opportunity. Like, I felt like I could make that big league team out of spring training. But yeah, I go there and felt like I was having a good spring training, and I ended up being one of the very first cuts. in big league spring training, which was shocking. And
It just shows you like,
Some things are out of your control.
well, it's also too, it's like, I feel like, man, they sell it to you in a way, but sometimes their decisions are already made before you get there.
And I think that's what it was. They signed Miguel Sano after I signed, and we were both fighting for third. Or like
You're
for
there
the
if
bench
somebody
spot.
gets hurt, right?
Exactly.
You know,
And that's
something
what
like
I felt like, because I was actually hitting the ball really well. They were super, like the hitting coach was like, hey, this is the best I've seen you swing since 2019, 2020. Like, and so then when they called me in and said that I was getting sent down, they were praising my hitting. They said it was defense, and I was playing great third, but Ron made it seem like it was,
Were you getting out there every day for early work?
yeah, every day at 7:15 in the morning.
And
Before the sun comes up,
Miguel
you're
Sano
out
is a
there.
good player.
Yeah.
Miguel Sano is a good player, but he was not.
He wasn't a defensive player.
No. And I think they wanted that cool story with Sano coming back, being the power guy, which I like. I like Sano. He was great in camp, but yeah, they made their decision. So at that time when I called my agent and said, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to go I don't want to go to AAA. But my agent's like, you just need to go play. Like, you're having a great spring training. Don't let this ruin the year. So I was like, all right, I just need to humble myself a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
which I feel like we all get there. I'm like, hey, like, I can go to spring training, I can show what I can do, and then go, and maybe get the opportunity. If I don't by my opt-out date, because I had an opt-out date, then I'll just go home and I'll be done.
Yeah.
Or see if there's any other opportunities. But pretty much right when I got down to minor league spring training and I went to Salt Lake, I knew mentally, like physically, I felt great. Swing felt good, playing really good third, but
You know when it's over. You know.
yeah, mentally, I was like, I got to a point where I wasn't even excited about the opportunity getting called back up. I was more excited about going home.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a similar experience when I got released, my last year with the Rangers. I don't think it really hit me till maybe I got on the airplane, and maybe I kind of fought back some tears a little bit. It came out as a little bit of a shock to me too, because I was just on the IL. They told me some stuff. I had to earn my way back on the team. I spent a little bit of time here in AA in Frisco.
Yeah.
And then someone got hurt. And then next thing you know, I'm in the big leagues. Never played. I just sat on the bench. Jock Peterson got hurt. I'm thinking, that's another open spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a chance to play. They told me Saturday night I was going to play Sunday. I come in Sunday. They released me. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, kind of out of nowhere. I was a little bit shocked. I didn't really have much to say. Said my goodbyes, got on the plane. I think it really hit me like that I was never going to play again. I had some tears, and then once the plane got up in the air, like this freedom, the sense of freedom took over.
Yeah.
And I knew kind of even going into that season, I was on the verge of mentally not even really wanting to be there. Like it was a grind going to spring training. It was a grind in spring training.
Yeah.
And, it was the best decision I ever made. I didn't necessarily get a chance to have my fairy tale ending, but I knew. And sometimes you just know in your heart, in your mind, it's time to move on. And, I had no regrets. I probably had that summer, much like you had the summer before. And I'm like, this is what life's all about.
Yeah.
It's cool. We wouldn't trade it for anything, but you listen to your story. You think about a guy who had 0 offers to 1 offer to 3 years later being in the big leagues, a guy who spent 3 years in AA, gets called up, spends 10 days on the bench, gets a pinch hit, misses the entire next season, ends up signing a deal, gets released. Like, you lived a hell of a life.
Yeah.
And you've dedicated so much of your time and energy and effort and sacrificed time with your wife and your kids and your family in order to chase this dream. It's totally okay at some point. We all don't get that fairy tale ending, but at some point you just know it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And your story's been incredible, inspiring. I think so many people are going to get so much out of this story of, perseverance and just kind of taking a different route to get to the big leagues, because you're a guy who had no offers to 1 offer, right place, right time, who had a tough decision at 10 years old if he wanted to play ice hockey full time, to having was it the career maybe you set out to have, but nonetheless, you had a major league career and you had some success in the major leagues. You had over 75 home runs in the major leagues. Like, enjoy it, man. Like, it's been incredibly awesome to hear your story.
Yeah, I mean, I can't thank you enough for sharing all that stuff with us, because a lot of this stuff too, I think, what a lot of people don't understand is, like, this is this stuff affects you like every single day, right? And so you're talking about not only like your performance, but it's like, hey man, like I've got this stuff going on at home. I'm, getting released, like I talk about the end of my career. It's like, dude, a lot of times everybody's like, hey, why'd you retire? It's like, I was kind of forced to, right? It's because I wasn't getting jobs anymore, but but I can't thank you enough for sharing your story with us. I think it just is another prime example of, like, nobody's trajectories are straight up, right? Like, there's so many things that happen, and there's plenty of different ways to get to where you want to go. And you are a really good example of that and what resilience and all those things can do. So can't thank you for sharing your story with us today. So that is another episode of To the Majors. If you like what we're putting out, please hit that subscribe button. That's the only way that we can continue to give you guys the content that we enjoy putting out there and that you guys like hearing. So if you guys like it, put something in the comment section, hit subscribe.